Wyatt Earp and his brothers Morgan and Virgil have left their gunslinger ways behind them to settle down and start a business in the town of Tombstone, Arizona. While they aren't looking to find trouble, trouble soon finds them when they become targets of the ruthless cowboy gang. Now, together with Wyatt's best friend Doc Holliday, the brothers pick up their guns once more to restore order to a lawless land. Welcome to another feature presentation of Midnight Double Feature, and on this episode we'll be covering 1993's Tombstone, directed by George B. Cosmatos. Well, kinda. Well, hello, boys and girls. Welcome back to Midnight Double Feature. Welcome to our Tombstone episode, coming at you from 1993. Directed by George B. Cosmatos. We'll get into that. We will. The Doc Holliday to my Wyatt. Zohab Ali. How you doing, buddy?
Wow, that might be the highest praise I've ever had at the beginning of these episodes.
Well, I also
Doc
say
Holliday?
that Doc Holliday was apparently an awful racist as well. So that's why I put it on you.
Let's live, and possibly lusted for his cousin, but
yeah, right.
That's another thing. Yeah, man, I'm good. I'm excited to cover this movie. Excited to be back on another episode, man. We are flying through these. We're about to record a bonus episode on The Evil Dead. The remake, The Evil Dead. Yeah, I love this job.
Yeah, me too. Job. Yeah, there are episodes every once in a while you get on and you're like, oh man, fuck. I felt that way about First Blood Part 2. I was like, oh god damn it. But then you get an episode.
Another George P. Cosmatos movie.
Yeah, there's definitely some connections there. But I come in very excited for this night's recordings because we're doing two good movies, and this is like really is this our first Western? Is this our first Western?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Is this our first Western? I don't know, because look, I know certainly I don't count Logan as a Western. Like, I mean, that's definitely
pretty close.
Not a Western. Like, the setting is Western, but it doesn't, and it definitely has like the values of a Western. You know, like there's quite a bit in there that really ties to like the old Western genre. But like this, I think this might be our first Western, man. Like, this is interesting because like you and I were kind of going a bit head to head. Like a couple of weeks ago, I think before I chose The Dark Knight, I was like, I want to cover 3:10 to Yuma. I don't know why. I fucking love that movie. And you know, you've been playing Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yes, I have.
I know you're balls deep in it. I finished that a while ago. Yeah, not 100% or anything. I've been meaning to dive back into it, but like, you know, like the Old West is on our minds. That's what we've been kind of like. That's what I'm trying to get across. So I think it was inevitable that we were going to get something on the board, and whether it was probably either going to be this Tombstone or 3:10 to Yuma, and the other one I was thinking of was Unforgiven, Clint Eastwood's movie.
Yeah, I feel like such a schmuck because I have not seen that, and that is all the cast of like Red Dead Redemption 2 would talk about. They're like, what's your favorite Western? Every one of them would, 4 out of 7 of them would say like Unforgiven. I was like, God.
It's the best picture winner, dude. Yeah. Also, I think an all-timer for me is The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Like, I mean, like that is such an incredible movie. It's the only movie I haven't seen any of the other The Man with No Name movies. Fistful of Dollars and for a few dollars more. Fuck me, I had to reach for that one. But yeah, like I think, you know, if I'm probably getting my thoughts started on Tombstone, I think this movie's good. I don't know. I don't know where the praise comes. Like, okay, because look, think about me, an Australian watching this movie.
Right.
This has nothing to do with our history. I can't relate or latch on to anything at all about this movie or the history that it's trying to tell, the stories that it's really trying to tell. You know, this is pretty much wholly an American story, and that's fine.
Because like we don't know. Yeah, it's like over in Australia. Why would you guys know like American like gunslingers and shit? You know,
right?
It's like these stories aren't as prevalent here. You know, it's not international.
Exactly. And I had seen this movie before, but I'd only seen it once. And I remember liking it a lot. And I still do like it. It's just for me, like, I'm just like, damn, like, I don't know why this movie in particular gets this much praise. Like, you know, like, when you hear Westerns, it's always this, Unforgiven. Sorry, modern Westerns. I'm not talking about the Sergio Leone spaghetti Westerns. You know, it's always this or Unforgiven that really kind of, like, pop up to the top of the pile. And, you know, it's interesting because, like, you know, if I was to go ask an American, hey, who's Lindy Chamberlain? They'd be like, I have no fucking idea.
Yeah, who the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. But if I said, hey, that dingo stole my baby, like, they'd be like, oh, yeah, that's Lindy Chamberlain. She's the mother, and Azaria Chamberlain was the baby. So, like, you know, it's interesting because, like, when someone says Wyatt Earp to me, I know who Wyatt Earp is. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, because, like, I've done research about this before. Like, you know, his name's definitely come up before. He's been portrayed by a ton of actors in a ton of movies. So, like, you know, that name's definitely popped up before. You know, I've seen Deadwood. I like Deadwood a lot. You know, the OK Corral also jumps to mind as well. You know, there was that famous movie back in, I think, in the 50s with Burt Lancaster and Kirk Douglas. Gunfight at the OK Corral. So, like, you know, I'm finding pieces of this history watching this movie. It's just, like, there is a moment, correct me if I'm wrong, after Virgil dies? No, what's the other brother's name? Morgan. After Morgan dies, after that, it's all kind of like wish fulfillment, right? I mean, it's not true after that, right?
A lot of it's pretty actually accurate. Like, I'd say 80% of what happens is pretty accurate.
Well, okay, but, like, is Holiday credited as killing at, like, fucking Michael Biehn's character?
No, that's a
suicide, right?
Apparently, some people say that he was just found, you know, with a gunshot wound to the head. The point of this like whole like conversation is that this podcast on my end is going to be a train wreck because I have no idea. So, but yeah, look, I really like this movie. I think. Sorry, I'm sorry to cut you off. No, go for it.
This movie has a crazy cast. Like, the cast in this movie, it's just like Kurt Russell, fucking Stephen Lang. Stephen Lang's awesome, by the way. There's fucking Sam Elliott, Bill Paxton, Michael Rooker, Michael Biehn. It's like, what the fuck, dude?
Billy Zane,
the guy
Jason
from Lost.
Priestley.
Yeah, Billy Zane. Yeah, exactly. John Locke from Lost. And I'm like, what the hell, man? Like, where? And, like, the women are just like, who?
Fucking Terry O'Quinn. I love. I know. Yeah. I think Dana Delaney. I don't know her from anything. I don't know really any of the why. They don't really have a lot of screen time though. But yeah, fucking Val Kilmer and Powers Booth.
I go past Val Kilmer. Powers Booth is fucking awesome in this movie.
If this scenery is Amity from Jaws, he's Jaws. Like, he is eating this fucking. Don't worry,
so good.
He's just drunk. And like, why? And it's like, dude, are you Tim Curry's like evil stepbrother? Like, there's that fucking mustache and that big ass grin. All I could think of was Tim Curry, but
he's so good. Rest in peace, Powers Booth.
I know, right?
Like, yeah, that was no, but this was the era of Val Kilmer. Like, this is back when he was one of the most recognizable faces on the planet. You know, like, this is, what year is this? 93, right? So a couple of years he played Batman.
Mm-hmm. And a year later, he's in Heat. Or 2 years later, he's in Heat.
He'd just been in The Doors, I believe.
Oh, yeah. Fuck, I forgot he was Jim Morrison in that. I fucking forgot all about that.
Have you seen the Kilmer documentary? The one called Val?
No, I haven't. I've been told I should.
It's a tough watch. It's a tough watch. But it's worth it, I think. It's yeah, you'll never kind of like look at him the same again. Even, you know, through these movies, these performances, it's wild, man.
That's what I've heard.
Solid movie, solid pick. I still think 3:10 to Yuma's got so much meat on the bone, so much more meat on the bone.
I mean, probably like I think that there's something, and kind of like segueing into my thoughts. I think there's something about this movie that it's like, it is such a guy movie. You know, it's definitely but you know, I say that like not like, oh, this is just a, you know, like this is a chick flick for men. Like, no, not at all. Like Lindsay watched this and fucking loved it. Like we watched it 2 or 3 times in the last week, and she was like, I fucking love this movie. And I think that it's, you know, obviously got a really, really great cast, but also I love the music to this. I love the kind of perception on exactly like who Wyatt Earp was as a person and how accurate that is. Because like I said, the majority of it is accurate. The shit with Ringo is not really accurate. Like Wyatt and Doc never even spoke again. I mean, they literally went their separate ways, had some kind of riff, and like hated each other. And then Doc died. Like that's just how it ended. So it takes like some liberties being a based on air quote true events, you know, movie. Like, and as far as those can go, God, it can be so much worse. There's so much shit that they could, you know, exaggerate and take for granted. But the real moments of like him throwing Johnny Tyler out of the Oriental actually happened. Like him actually saying "you're a daisy if you do" actually happened. Like all these different lines are like people were there and witnessed it. Like the guy who went in the gunfight with Curly Bill with the infamous, I mean, it's the worst part of this movie, and it takes off like a whole point for me.
Oh my God.
No, dude.
What is this end of Revenge of the Sith Darth Vader bullshit, dude?
Dude, I was on the floor kicking my feet in the air, just going, yes. Like, dude, that was
I nearly turned it off. I was like, there's 5 minutes left. I nearly turned it off. Because, like, I'm just like, how, like, these cowboys in the bushes have the respect to not shoot him. And it's just like, hold on, one-on-one. Curly Bill comes out, one-on-one.
I want him.
Hold your fire. And
but, you know,
like,
apparently, the guy that Wyatt Earp shoots on the bank, the guy in the blue shirt, he didn't die right then. He lived for like several more hours and then he died. But he recanted this whole story. He was like, yeah, Wyatt Earp just walked out there with a shotgun and Curly Bill missed every single shot. And he just walked up and shot him with a shotgun. I was like, that's kind of fucking nuts. Like, that's kind of crazy, you know, but it makes you think, like, how shitty of a shot did you have to be a gunslinger back then? You know, if you missed every shot, like, I don't know. I mean, I'm by no means a weapons expert. I don't own a gun, not anything against them or anything, but I feel like if I called myself like a gunslinger, I would be able to hit something as it was coming toward, you know, I don't know. It just makes me laugh for whatever reason. And that's
maybe he was sourced.
He might, fuck. Apparently this this whole town is not like a mining town. They mine whiskey. And that's, I was shocked. Sure. The part when Virgil comes in after he's been shot, I was shocked that they were eating food. And I was like, holy shit, people eat food in this fucking movie. That's insane. I thought everybody lived on Faro and like Jack Daniels and warm beer. That's all I thought.
And bullets.
Yeah, and dust and tumbleweeds and all that jazz. But
dude, you know how they keep themselves full. They eat a couple of hairs from their mustaches every couple of minutes.
Yeah, it's actually like a living parasite that lives on the top of their lip. It's like a symbiotic relationship.
Sam Elliott's mustache is heinous. It is. It committed a crime, man. That is
that thing like belongs in a park. That is like so fucking bushy. This big ass bushy. Like I feel like that should be behind. Like, and this is the Sam Elliott mustache. But please, ma'am, don't try to touch it. You know, I feel like
don't touch the glass. Yeah,
I feel like that's something in the zoo. You know, just man, that is magnificent.
At one point, I think it looked at me in this movie and says and said, "Hey, we're going out on a date," and I got scared too. And I was like, "Let's fucking go, man." Have you seen The Hateful Eight?
I have not.
Okay, because Kurt Russell's mustache in that movie is bonkers.
Apparently, he smashed like a $30,000 guitar in that shit. Like, he smashed a priceless.
And they kept the take. They kept the take in the movie. I can't wait till we cover that movie.
Oh man,
because what's her name's in it? I forgot the woman's name. But
Sissy
literally,
Spacek?
like he's no. It's gonna kill me.
Jennifer Jason Leigh.
Yes. So he's like playing. She's playing the guitar. It's this long ass soliloquy, whatever. He walks in and just grabs it off her and smashes it. And like just before he smashes it against the pole, like she sees him go to smash it, and she's like, "No, no, no!" And in actuality, that's the actress saying, "No, no, no." Oh yeah, that's such a great movie. I can't wait to do it. But back to this dumpster fire.
Yeah. No, I love this movie. I think it's
really good. Yeah.
I usually don't cover Westerns for the podcast a lot because my dad had me watch a lot of Westerns when I was younger. He's always had fucking Sons of Katie Elder and The Shootist and True Grit and like all these different John Wayne movies. I just got fucking sick of John Wayne. So I didn't catch this until way later on in life, and I fucking love it. I don't think it's perfect. I think it's pretty high up there. The reason why we kind of put that at the beginning of did George P. Cosmatos direct this or not? I saw a video from Val Kilmer where Val Kilmer's like, make no mistake, Kurt Russell is solely responsible for the success of this movie. And he would give George like the daily shots and tell him what shots we were doing. He cut like hours and hours of his own, or not hours and hours, but like lines and lines of his own dialogues to get the movie in on time and make this, you know, a good project. And you get like, I think Val Kilmer even was like, man, Kurt was really nice, you know, because he cut all of his best lines and like gave them to me. And I was like, that's fucking hilarious. But apparently, I think Kurt Russell does Tango and Cash with Stallone. I don't know if he had already done it yet. That's 89. So he does Tango and Cash with Stallone. Stallone suggests George P. Cosmatos because apparently this was the same relationship they had on First Blood Part 2. It's like, oh, that fucking explains it. Sylvester Stallone directed it. Oh, okay. That's why it's a fucking dumpster fire. I just don't get it, man, because he did Rocky 2 and I love that movie. But anyways, basically...
Well, like it doesn't surprise me that Kurt Russell had a massive hand in assisting Cosmatos direct this, because like, if you do look at Cosmatos' sort of like resume, this is the like Tombstone is the one that stands out as being like, damn, you did
what the
that.
Fuck? Yeah.
Like, you know, like he's got Rambo First Blood Part 2. He's got Cobra, which is a fun movie. It's not good.
Oh,
it's fun but not good. If you click on any of these other movies which I've never seen, Shadow Conspiracy, Leviathan, Of Unknown Origin, and Escape to Athena, they've all got terrible reviews. So it's like, how is this, like, you know, you've got one golden beacon and it's hailed in like Western culture as one of the best Western movies of all time. How did you manage to pull that off? Like, you know, right. So it's like, it's not totally surprising that someone, you know, helped
like
him.
He got kicked in the head by a horse and just became a genius. And right on the last day, a horse kicked him again. And then it's just like, fuck, he's back to normal now.
Props to Kurt Russell, man. Like, I fucking love Kurt Russell. Like,
I do
he's
too.
Just got such a great presence, man.
I like him a lot. And, you know, I have a lot more respect for him after checking all this stuff out. Apparently he was like, yeah, I slept about 4 hours a night. And George asked me to never tell anyone, like, while he was alive, like what our little relationship was. And he's like, he died in 2005. So he waited like a really long time to actually spill the beans. But then, you know, it's just like, man, you got to give credit where credit is due. And he sacrificed so much. And like, I think he ended up helping get this film produced and shit. And he was kind of competing with Kevin Costner at the time because Kevin Costner was getting ready for his Wyatt Earp thing in 94.
Wyatt Earp, yeah.
So actually he stole like all the really, really authentic Western gear and shit from like the top company in Hollywood or whatever. So they went to an actual group of like reenactors and shit. And they had their own uniforms and had, you know, this incredibly authentic stuff. So the two cowboys that pop up, there's like Creek Johnson and Texas Jack, the two random guys who pop up. They're the ones shooting everybody with Wyatt and Doc.
Yes.
One of those guys, I think Texas Jack, is like the head of this reenactment society, and they just gave him a part in the movie because he was the head of the reenactor and shit. I was like, that's pretty fun. He only has like 2 lines, you know, but I thought that was pretty fucking cool. And I just, you know, does this movie really romanticize a lot of shit? Yeah, you know, but it gets a lot of fucking stuff accurate. And I try to look at it objectively as well. Like, I love this movie regardless of how accurate it is. It is fucking great. Like, I definitely think there's some parts that are a little cheesy. I think there's some parts that are a little too. Some people are more like archetypes than they are characters. Like Ike Clanton, he's just kind of this fucking idiot, and it's like apparently, like even Stephen Lang. Stephen Lang was like, man, I looked through a lot of records on him, and there was not a man who disliked him or liked him that really called him a coward. So like, it's kind of like a rumor about him. I was like, oh, that's interesting. You know,
interesting.
Yeah,
because he's he's such a little bitch.
Apparently, some people think he wasn't even a cowboy. He was actually just a rancher that had a really good relationship, like Behan, you know, or like Jason Priestley in this. Like he wasn't really. And the true story is really interesting. I'm not going to go into every single fucking detail here. There's a lot of shit between Ike Clanton and Wyatt Earp and who shot first and why they were at each other's throats in the first place. I do want to give a shout out to History Buffs on YouTube. Really, really, really good series. And they actually did Tombstone. And I pulled a lot of information from there. I watched a lot of different stuff. Dude, that is a great YouTube channel. It's really, really good. But I love this movie, you know, separate from all historical accuracies aside. I think it's a visually beautiful movie. I love the performances in it. Again, for the most part, there's definitely some cheesy moments to it, some like really some real machismo moments. But I do think the editing is one of the shining examples of this movie. They do such a good job, especially when you have a movie that has multiple, you know, when you have multiple gunfights and stuff and showing exactly how those go, especially when you're filming what's probably the most infamous gunfight in the West, you know, the shootout at the OK Corral has been, filmed and broken down and studied and argued about for centuries now. And this really did scratch my itch for Red Dead Redemption 2. It's not quite the era, but I was like, okay, it's pretty close. Like you might see like a 9-year-old Arthur Morgan running around in the background. You know, I was like, that'd be kind of cool. But with that out of the way, man, let's jump into this shit.
I'm keen. Before we do, can we just mention, we didn't spend enough time on him, and I know we will as we go through. But fuck, man, this is such a good Bill Paxton role.
Yes,
he's such a deer in the woods. He's so kind-hearted.
Oh.
Like, you know, when Virgil, when he decides to, you know, stand up for this town, and Morgan's got the badge as well, and you know Wyatt's just like obviously going off at them. And Morgan just goes, I thought it's what you'd do. And it's just like, oh, shit, man. Like, Bill Paxton, like, we honestly lost a legend in Bill Paxton, man. And it sucks. It sucks seeing him in this because it's like, I wish you were alive forever, dude.
Oh, and then you have to watch him die like all over again. It's fucking, it sucks.
And it's a rough death. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, especially because he's, like you said, he's so young and so optimistic, you know, and he's like spiritualist and shit. There's some really, really interesting, there's some really interesting shit with his character, especially because of being almost like a sacrificial lamb in a weird way. It's kind of like the most innocent of the group kind of dies. It's not Virgil. It's not Wyatt. It's like the really young one who's has his whole life ahead of him. I think that's really interesting. But let's jump into this because you're a daisy if you do. Here we are. We're at this, I guess in, I don't know if this is Tombstone or this is down in Mexico. Basically, our cowboys are getting revenge for a little cowboy death that we have. I am amazed that none of the reason why the Cowboys are so successful is because the Mexican police apparently literally never even land a shot, literally. And it like, they kill 14 of them and no one on the Cowboy side gets shot. That is fucking crazy, dude. And of course we get that voiceover. We get that awesome voiceover from oh shit, he's in Cape Fear, the original. What is his name?
Is he the narrator?
Yeah, he's the narrator. Robert Mitchum, thank you. I always love that opening because of the way he says Los Angeles. I love the way he sounds like Scruffy from Futurama. I love hearing Robert Mitchum talk. But we're introduced to all of our cowboys here. We're introduced to we didn't even talk about Michael Biehn as Johnny Ringo. There's just,
right.
dude, if we gave every single person this, like a minute or two, we'd be here all fucking night. The cast of this all these people are in different shit. I don't even know all of the Cowboys names, but the guy in the blue shirt, he's in My Big Fat Greek Wedding. He's in United States of Terror. He's in a lot of really good movies. This guy translating Spanish at the beginning. He's in a shit ton of stuff. He's like, I remember him from X-Files. He's Eugene Stoon's like parole officer. And this guy's definitely not Hispanic, by the way, at all. That's definitely brown face, 100%.
Yeah, that's for sure. Because I've seen this guy around before, and I'm just like, no, that's.
And he can't even, like, they even make fun of his own Spanish. And I was like, Jesus Christ, man! Like, God damn it. What cracks me up though is when they get this guy, I guess the groom, the member of the Mexican police. They're like, get this guy on his knees, and they pull out a sawed off or like a long double barrel, and they shoot him, and this little thing pops up on his knee. I was like, dude, no, that guy would be looking at the fucking bottom of his foot. Like his shit would be fucking wrecked.
I'll tell you what though, there is quite a bit of, not quite a bit of, but I mean, there is some decent amount of bloodshed in this. Like, I mean, like, you know, I thought I didn't
particularly
think that this was
gory,
a hard R. Yeah, I don't remember this being a hard R rating kind of like movie, but like, because this is only rated M15 here, which is your equivalent of PG-13. So, I was like, oh yeah, this is quite violent. I always remember this being somewhat toothless, but it's not.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of like gunplay and shit. Like there's a lot of, especially when they're digging that bullet out of Morgan's back. It's like, oh god, that's pretty fucking rough. Fucking Michael Rooker. I love Michael Rooker. James Gunn's lucky
James Gunn's
lucky
boy,
treasure, I guess.
Yeah. This is so early for him. I mean, you know, like I know that he's gone through this big kind of like
this is right before
Discovery.
Cliffhanger.
Yeah,
Henry,
that's right.
Portrait of a Serial Killer. Fuck, when was that? I haven't watched that because I've heard just such insane things
pretty
about.
Wild.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know if I can. No, that's 86. Shit, I was way off. But anyways, they interrupt this wedding, kill the bride, kill the groom. Weird editing thing because it's like, oh, they're definitely gonna go and like sexually assault her, take her back, but then they shoot her, and I was like, okay, this definitely seems like somebody in the editing booth was just like, guys, it's too much, man. You gotta just shoot her. But especially for them being so casual about it and just eating a meal right outside after raping and murdering this, it's like fucking Jesus Christ, man. Like I get it, they're supposed to be bad guys, but in reality, these guys were not. They're pretty bad, but they weren't walking around like fucking point blank and priests and shit. You know, like it wasn't that, but it was. You know, they're bad, but not that bad. Come on.
Curly Bill's like, look, let me get some blood on, like some blood taste on this empanada that I'm about to eat here.
Yeah,
man. Like this.
He
is
like goes
wild.
over to the jugular and he's like, and just starts like, and he breaks down what the priest is saying. Basically this, the horse was death. It's from the Book of Revelations. And basically says that it's their time is about to come to an end, which is basically what's going on. We're introduced to Wyatt Earp, played by our man Kurt Russell.
He's so good. He's so. Dude, you know what it is, man. He oozes charisma. Like, you know, in a way that actors don't really ooze charisma anymore. Like, I mean, like I know that you've got actors on screen who do like like lesser known ones these days, but man, no one oozes charisma like Kurt Russell does.
He's got such a piercing stare. Yeah, he's just got that icy cold,
and that really sharp voice, like that really authoritative, like don't fuck with me.
It's a great way that they set him up because not only do we see the fact that the Cowboys are willing to, rape and murder and kill this priest, and the first thing we see him do is like stop animal cruelty. It's like, dude, it's such a save the cat moment, It's good, but I like how fast this movie gets going. We've met the good guys, we've met the bad guys. It is 8.5 minutes in, it just hits the ground fucking running, especially for a 2-hour long movie. I didn't feel like, maybe there was a couple times it didn't feel like an hour and a half, but it didn't feel like 2 hours, like it does actually feel like it moved at a pretty good pace. as soon as they get to, they're not even in Tombstone yet. They're at Tucson. He's offered a job, turns it down, says, nope, I've already did my time. Want to make some money. Well, what does he say? Not a rich man I've ever seen who didn't have a guilty conscience. I've already got the guilty conscience. Figure I might as well have the money as well. Like that's the one thing is like, I feel like irrefutable about this script is it is unbelievably clever. Like it is unbelievably witty and like not funny as in like ha 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 like you just saw somebody get hit in the balls, but funny as in like Jesus dude, it's just so like, oh my god, that's so cool, you know, like in the shit that they're saying and the way that they're saying it, it's unbelievably charming, you know.
That also speaks to the Western genre. I mean, like what he says here is like, he's basically here to retire, right? Like he's basically here to wind down the rest of his life because he's kind of like done all these like legendary things and he's made a name for himself. He's got a reputation. So like, you know, that is such a staple of this genre of like, let me just, you know, just sit back and relax now. You know, let me I've lived this long life. Let me just sit back and relax and, you know, just look out at the field in front of me, you know.
Right.
But that's I can't think of any westerns at the moment, but like the idea of retirement, the idea of like just living the rest of your American dream life, like is so Western. Like, you know, that's
such like a Logan, Western, you know, story. Let's just get on this boat and get out of here, you know, and it never, you know, it's really brewing. Good, right. Yeah. It's a really good like plot device. I really like that a lot. But the second that we also get to Tucson, we're introduced to Morgul and Virgin. God damn it. Oh.
That's Lord of the Rings. He's been struck by a Morgul blade.
Morgul, I shall take the ring from the hand of the decrepit Morgul.
Dude, I'm not even gonna lie. The first time I heard the name Virgil, it wasn't in this movie. I completely could not get Virgin out of my head. I was like,
dude,
oh my God,
that's why you never meet. There's nobody named Virgil after like like in 94 there was a spike, and then in like 97 it died. You're like, oh, these kids are getting fucking picked on like crazy.
Virgil.
We're introduced to Virgil and Morgan, played by obviously, like we said, Bill Paxton and the incomparable fucking Sam. Listen, I'm talking about a guy here. Talking about the dude. It's so hard to do any kind of like, you have to chain smoke 50 Lucky Strike cigarettes unfiltered, and then you have to stay up in a saloon from Fallout New Vegas and play fucking Pharaoh all night. Just his voice is unbelievably. There is a tiny wheelbarrow that sits in his pants that holds his giant fucking balls, dude. Like, there's something about Sam Elliott that I'm like, you know, sometimes I'm like, man, I mean, you know, I work out pretty good. I have a very physical job. I'm a fucking man. I build houses and shit. And then I see someone like Sam Elliott and I'm like, I should pee sitting down. Like, I should not even, I should not even compete. I should not even be called that as a fucking man, you know?
Do me your best. Do me your best Sam Elliott impression.
Oh, God. The one I keep thinking of is him in Big Lebowski. Have you seen Big Lebowski?
Yeah, of course.
I just love his, like, down in this town of Los Angeles, there was this guy called the Dude. Nobody would ever self-appoint himself that where I'm from, but then again, there was a lot of things about the dude that didn't make any sense. It's so fucking low, man. So hard to do.
I can't do it, dude.
It's so fucking hard.
I'm just imagining him like in his gruff voice, just absolutely shitting on women directors and the power of the dog and homosexuality in westerns. Yeah. Did you hear about this? That.
Yeah, I saw something where he got in a lot of trouble for it, and then I guess he came out and apologized and said he was a fucking being an asshole and shit.
Well, he was like that's not a real western. What he said, and I don't disagree with him. I don't think Power of the Dog is like a conventional western in any way, in any format.
Yeah.
I don't think you've seen it, but like it's you know, it just isn't. It's not a conventional western at all. And like Jane Campion, who directed that, literally said, yeah, I wanted to do things in this movie that challenged that Western genre and all the values that it
Right.
held. So, like, whatever.
Yeah.
By the
I need
way,
to watch that. I still haven't yet. Sorry, what were you going to say?
have you ever seen An American Tail?
Fightful Goes West?
Yeah.
Yes, I have. Are you talking about the animated An American Tale Fightful Goes West? Yes, of course. I've seen those. I love those movies.
Okay, so I was today years old when I discovered that Wiley Burp is a play on Wyatt Earp.
Oh, dude, I don't even remember the characters' names from that because we used to have it on VHS though, and I remember American Tail 2 Fightful Goes West. That was my favorite. Holy shit, man, you've opened up like a door in my brain I forgot about from like years ago. I was like, oh fuck, you and American Tail, and I haven't said those words in 31 years, and I said Fightful Goes West. Like, that just opened up something from way back when.
Oh man, that's like the Stranger Things portal, just something coming right through, isn't it?
And I want to bring this up really quick too. Apparently, have you ever heard the story that Kurt Russell was the last words of Walt Disney?
What?
Walt Disney, like dying.
Yeah, yes, the man. Yeah.
His last words were Kurt Russell.
In what context?
Apparently, from this is an article from Country Living, actually. He was let's see here. He was on the set of Universal filming a Western when Walt Disney died. A contract actor under a 10-year agreement. He was 15 years old. It was 1966. What the hell is this? Guy came over to me and said, I'm sorry to tell you, Kurt, but Walt Disney died. Kurt Russell recalled they were all very sweet, blah, blah, blah. Apparently, yeah, there's a story that one of the last things that he wrote was Kurt Russell on like a piece of paper or something. I don't know. That might be like myth, but I do know that he actually thought pretty highly of Kurt Russell.
Can you imagine walking around with Kurt Russell's brain or mindset, dude? Like the amount of ego boost that you would have.
All the people, he's worked with everyone from Walt Disney to like Quentin Tarantino. That's the Walt Disney. No, not Disney, the Walt Disney. That's crazy.
Yeah. Also, I was kind of like, it might be a bit of a stretch, but I wonder if his son Wyatt Russell is named after Wyatt. I don't know.
Oh, I mean, that's not unheard of. I mean, it's a cool name. I like Wyatt. But
I mean, it's I reckon. I reckon that Kurt Russell was definitely obsessed with Wyatt Earp, and Wyatt Russell was born 1986. So, yeah, I mean, I can see it. Whatever.
I could definitely see it.
Speculation.
Especially guys around this time. Like, my dad loved Westerns. Every guy knew about Westerns, And that's so interesting when you're bringing that up. It's like, I wondered what your experience as an Australian was going to be to, like, American Westerns. And that's so funny. You literally, like, started with that. And I was like, okay, perfect. Because I'm sure, it's like, if I saw some movie about a great war in Australia, I'd be like, what's the cultural significance? This doesn't translate here. What's the cultural significance to this?
It's funny because like it is a genre that I had to discover in my late teens by myself, kind of thing. Like, it wasn't something that was brought to me. And like even, you can ask like Matt Vella. Like you can ask Matt, like just someone, a friend, right? And he would tell you that Westerns just don't vibe with him. Like, like I know this about him because they're just not culturally significant here. I dig them because I like the values that the Western genre has. Like, the idea of like retiring after a long hard life. like that sounds awesome. But like things not always going the right way. I love the idea of loyalty. Like there's always the idea of loyalty in these movies, which is awesome. Plus, I really love this era. Like, I love the guns. I love that there's no automatic weapons. I love that they're all semi-automatics or like, there's revolvers. And like, look at him, dude. Like, I just freeze framed this shot of just like Sam Elliott. Look at him. Like, they look awesome. Like, like the way they dress, the demeanors on their face, their hats. Like, it's just awesome, man. I love it all.
I love the flatness of their hats. They look like
Yeah.
the guys that work for the Rainmaker and Looper, like the guys who show up with the guns and shit. Like they look, everybody looks like they're fresh out of like Jack Nicholson's Joker gang from the '89 Batman.
I love that. Yeah.
But again, we're
by the way, to anyone listening, Colin picking Tombstone does not take 310 to humor off the board. I'm 100% bringing that back.
Yeah, that's a good. I actually saw that in theaters a long time ago, but we'll save that for that episode before I spoil everything. But again, we're introduced to Wyatt Earp. We see he's a man who loves horses. He turns down the job that the marshals offer him. We meet Morgan and Virgil. We meet their wives. We meet, I believe, Kate is his wife's name. The whore and addict. No, I'm just kidding. Apparently, I don't know how accurate this is. I know that she did actually die of a drug overdose in real life later on. And the funny thing was, Wyatt Earp, before being a lawman, was like, tried to be a rancher, I think, and did buffalo herding, and he was a pimp, and she was his prostitute. And that was like how they met and stuff. And I guess he just decided, hey, yeah, let's get married and we'll run off to Tombstone and stuff. So originally they were going to take their caravans the wagons they brought, turn them into caravans and have like a caravan business. And when that went tits up, they just decided, yeah, we're just going to go back to lawmaking and try to open up businesses and shit. And it's like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Like, but basically, they first get into town. We see them really kind of taking everything in. We're introduced to Doc Holliday, played by fucking Val Kilmer, and his lovely Kate, as they called her Big Nose Kate in real life, which is a great nickname for any woman.
You're not wearing a bustle.
Why, Kate, you're not wearing a bustle.
Hallowed.
The guy he's playing cards with is Frank Stallone. That's Sylvester Stallone's brother.
Oh, no shit. That's cool.
Yeah, that's Ed Bailey, which explains the George P. Cosmatos. Like, it's so funny to see that. Like, Tango and Cash was 86. That's how Russell probably met Stallone. Stallone is doing Rambo First Blood Part 2 in 86 or like 84, and then does that. And then you have George P. Cosmatos, and then you have Frank Stallone pop up in here. It's like, this is really fucking cool. So if it wasn't for Sylvester Stallone, we wouldn't have Tombstone. That's kind of crazy when you think about it. Like, that's really, and I do want to give credit to Kevin Jarre, who wrote this script. Apparently, I think he wrote Glory, the Matthew Broderick movie, and then he got fired from this very quickly, and that's when he brought in George P. Cosmatos.
Yeah, I looked that up as well. Hey, Kurt. Hey, I see you're making that Western.
Hey, Kurt, you put my fucking brother in here, man. He's a kid, get right. He's a good singer, but I'll be honest. I think I really, really like Frank Stallone's acting in this. I was like, you know what? He's pretty good, man. He's pretty good for someone who's not an actor acting. He's like a singer, and he's kind of brother's like a lot bigger name. But I like him in this, because he's like, when you put those guns down, you ain't nothing but a skinny longer. And I was like, holy shit, man. like this guy. That was the first
time I've heard that phrase, longer.
Yeah, me too.
Obviously I had to look it up. Well, actually, I made the connection, right? Because he's got tuberculosis, and that's how he died. But that was interesting. I've
been playing Red Dead Micah, calling Arthur Blacklung the whole time. It's like, you fucking prick. So they end up robbing the place. Why, Ed? Are we cross? And he just taps those guns very gently. And he's like, well, Ed, if you want my friend, I just don't think I could bear it. That's one of my favorite, because his face is just so unbelievably sarcastic. And I do want to talk briefly about Doc and Ringo, because I like Michael Biehn. I think he does a pretty good job. I think he does the best he could possibly do with the material he's given, because he is supposed to be a version of Doc Holliday that has no sense of humor and has very little self-realizations and just does not accept I think he is so similar to Doc, but Doc is like, he knows who he is.
He's supposed to be a version of Johnny Ringo that has no sense of humor, right?
No, Johnny Ringo is a version of Doc that has no sense of humor.
Right. Yes, yeah, I see what you mean. I see what you're saying. Yep. Okay,
he's just like him, but he has no self-realizations. Like, he doesn't, Doc accepts who he is and doesn't, he has a death sentence, basically. Doc Holliday got TB when he was 15. And he was a dentist.
Insane.
a dentist and said, fuck it, I'm going to go start banging prostitutes and fighting in card games and stuff. And it's just unbelievable. I mean, he was a kid. He was a fucking kid when a lot of this shit was going on. I don't know how old he was. I mean, maybe 20s or 30s when this was going on. I know he didn't live long.
Well, that was the average age around this time.
Right. If you lived to be like 17, you were like fucking applying for Social Security.
If you got bitten by a beetle, you might as well call the Undertaker.
Yeah. You might as well cut the leg off that the beetle bit,
right,
because
exactly.
you're going to die.
Yeah.
Doc Holliday and Kate clean the place out. We see they're kind of this spur of the moment, gang on the run kind of lifestyle. I like it. We arrive in
silhouette sunset shot. Oh, God.
So
gorgeous.
Good, dude. The cinematography for this movie is just incredible. I should look that up. But while I am looking that up, we can talk about Sheriff Johnny Behan, Sheriff Tombstone, who is a very interesting character in all of this.
Mr. Cuckold himself.
Yeah, you talking about Orson Welles? He looks like Orson Welles. He looks just like fucking Orson Welles.
He does. That's a good
all
call.
I could think of.
I was like, who does this guy look like? Yeah, that's awesome.
He is a very interesting character. Like you said, definitely is a beta bitch. It feels like a beta.
Yeah.
I don't subscribe to any of that. I hate the term alpha and I hate the term like Sigma male and shit, but I love when I'm like, that guy's a beta bitch. He's just a bitch. But the thing that cracks me up about his character is that he was, a lot of this story is broken down into like politics, like the real life sides of it and stuff. And basically he was on the side of politics that was kind of with the Cowboys. And, it's no wonder he was kind of incompetent at what he was doing, because he was kind of biased, like he was basically friends with a lot of these guys and rode with them and stuff. And he definitely did deputize all these Cowboys and stuff. So it kind of puts him in a weird spot being town sheriff. But when he first comes up, he talks about like, hey, yeah, I'm a town sheriff, town tax collector. I'm a member of the nonpartisan anti-Chinese committee. And I was like, what? And I looked it up, and yeah, there were anti-Chinese committees, and I guess, and we're watching this, and Lindsay goes, "Who do you think built the fucking railroad, man?" And I fucking died laughing. I was like, yeah, how are you going to come out here and, basically have the railroads built by the end and be like, yeah, but we have an anti-Chinese league. It's like, whatever, it points to the movie for historical accurate. I don't think they would throw that in there randomly if that was not 100% accurate, but apparently there was a large sentiment against Asians and Asian Americans at the time. Not enough to stop them from naming the largest gambling parlor the Oriental. That's amazing. That is some
as well.
Unbelievable hypocrisy. That's so fucking funny.
Look, dude, you got to be careful, man, because if they roll in there and they spread COVID, that's an extinction level event at this time. That is a extinction. You might as well get hit by the meteor from Armageddon.
I'd love to see Johnny Behan come out and be like, "It's going to be fantastic. We're not going to let any of the Chinese in. We're going to stop them. It's going to be great. I came up with it. Obviously, no one else would. No one's this stupid." No, I think that would be fucking hilarious, because it's so weird to think about that at the time. And even Doc Holliday as well. Apparently, Doc Holliday shot some people because they were I guess black people trying to drink at the same watering hole as him, and he ended up, I think, killing someone over it. And I was like, holy shit. So they definitely sketch over a lot of that stuff. But I mean, to be honest, you're going to spit in any direction in the 1880s and find someone who's a total fucking racist. It's kind of hard. Yeah. Everybody was, because everybody was in their own groups and shit. I'm not saying that makes it okay. I'm just saying this is just the way it was, back then. People like fucking Italians, and they're like, fucking Jew, and the Italians were going, fucking Jews, and the Jews were going, fucking Mexicans. It's like it's just this, everybody stuck to their own thing.
I'm so on board with the Johnny Behan Donald Trump connection, because both of their wives are cheating on him. I love it. I love it a lot.
Both of them look like they like to lay in a bathtub and get peed on. But anyways,
oh shit.
Behan basically says, hey, I'm going to set you guys up with a lot, and you're not going to find a better spot in town. as soon as they basically land, they get kind of the lowdown from the sheriff, Fred White. Fred White kind of breaks in. Hey, the sheriffs, they run everything. Or I'm sorry, the Cowboys, they run everything. They're making money hand over fist, except for the Oriental. That's a regular slaughterhouse. He explains, not even the high rollers won't go in there. This is where we meet fucking Billy Bob Thornton as Johnny Tyler.
Dude.
Wow. Pudgy Bob Thornton.
I was going to say chubby Bob Thornton, dude. I mean, I'm like, Angelina Jolie marries this guy in 7 years? Okay. Nice.
That's good. Yeah, I tell you what, you push that queen again, you some bitch. I'm gonna blow your ass off that wildcat up there. I swear to God. What is it? God damn it. It's like I'm playing cards with my brother's kids. That fucking line made me laugh so hard. And I was like, there is so much of bad Santa coming out of him right there. He's like, Jesus Christ. It's like I'm playing cards with my brother's kids.
Yeah, I love Billy Bob Thornton, dude. You gotta see Fargo. You need to watch the Fargo TV show.
Oh, dude, I know. I'm so bad. I need to watch the fucking movie as well. I haven't really watched that.
No, you need to watch the TV show.
But
unconnected.
This is some BDE. This is some big dick energy we've got going on here. It's you're standing in the shower on your tiptoes and the head is still touching the drain. It's some BDE big time. What did he say? He goes, you got a loud mouth for someone who doesn't come healed. Healed is, with a gun. He's like, I don't need to be healed to get a bulge in a tub like you. I was like, Jesus Christ, man. And just the way that, because I had to stop up and think, I was like, don't need to be healed to get punched on. And I had to sit there and break it down in my head and go, what the fuck is he saying? I was like, oh, okay, tub, fat, healed, gun. Okay, gotcha. But it is so interesting. And I told Lindsay, I was like, I want to bring back Much Obliged. I want to bring it back so fucking hard, man. Someone, you're at the bank and they give you a new set of like checks and you tip your baseball cap. Much obliged. Scruffy's going to die the way Scruffy lived.
I feel like I'm like it's on the tip of my tongue the first time I heard that term, much obliged. It was definitely a Western.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was. It must have been years ago, but I remember latching onto it. I was like, damn, that sounds awesome.
I want a big ass hat and a fake little toy gun to carry around with me, and I want to tip that hat and say much obliged. That's what I want to do. He slaps the shit out of Chubby Bob Thornton, throws him out of the bar, calls him a youngster. That fucking makes me laugh my ass off because they're like 6 years apart. Throws him out, tells Milt, hey, how about 25% of this operation? I also love when he walks in. He's like, what's your name, mister? He's like, Wyatt Earp. He's like, yeah, of course. And he thinks he's joking. He's like, no, it's fucking Wyatt Earp, man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fucking great.
His reputation precedes him. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Let me see here. Where are we at? Oh, yeah. So when they finally get to town, this is where they meet up with Doc Holliday. We see Johnny Tyler in the background with that shotgun. I love that right away. You feel this great relationship between them, and it feels antagonistic, but it also feels like frenemy-ish. It's like these two guys that just respect each other, but they're on such total sides of the law. I think it's really, really interesting the way that they do this relationship. And a lot of this was, Wyatt did actually invite Doc to Tombstone, hoping he's like, yeah, maybe it might clear up your lungs. It's a dry climate. There's some money to be made here in Faro. Doc Holliday totally saved Wyatt Earp's life years before this, and that's just how they remain friends. It's like, that's pretty fucking cool. They talk about how they're going into business for themselves. I love as he's talking, he looks over. Oh, Johnny, I'm sorry. I forgot you were there. You may go now. There's so many unbelievably good, like, verbose lines from Val Kilmer in this, man.
Dude, that is such a my dick is swollen.
Yes.
It's so fucking big. Johnny Ringo, get the fuck out. Oh, sorry, not Johnny Ringo. It's Billy Bob, right?
Yeah.
He says that too? Yeah. He's like, I forgot you were there. Ooh.
I love.
It was such a non-threat that I forgot about.
Yes, like it's so funny to see him talking to Wyatt, and he's totally different. I've never seen something that Wyatt couldn't talk himself into, and they're smiling and shaking hands, and he looks over at Johnny Tyler, and just this veil like drops. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot you were there. It's like a totally different person. Sheriff Johnny Behan comes up. Hey, Sheriff, you ever met Doc Holliday? Piss on you, Wyatt. That's one of my, I die fucking laughing in this because he's like, I don't want to talk to a cop, you asshole. Talks about Tombstone becoming the next San Francisco. We have a gunfight breakout and how very cosmopolitan. We're introduced to Texas Jack and Creek Johnson, who are just, they're going to pop up later on in the movie. They're not entirely important right now. But this is the guy I was talking about, the guy with the longer hair. He's actually the head of these like reenactors and stuff. And they didn't hire actors. They hired real reenactors. All those people walking around in the background were sleeping in tents and shit and were rolling up bedrolls and stuff, you know, for the most part. I don't know if, 100% of that is accurate. After this, we're introduced to Josephine, going to be Wyatt's new love interest. I just kind of, dude, absolutely. She's probably, I think, almost as charming as Doc Holliday. She is so unbelievable. Like, I love, he's like, oh, what, are you always happy? She's like, yeah, I'm always happy. Unless I'm bored, and she's just so playful and funny. I love her character in this. The fact that she's, I don't know, she's just this like wild kind of spirit, but sweet at the same time. I really, really enjoy her as a character.
I was so unengaged from the romance element of this movie because I believe in the sanctity of marriage. And
I believe in total monogamy until the ring's on the finger. You lay under a sheet every night and you stuff your dick into the mattress and make the boner go away.
Unless, of course, your wife is a drunk and a opium addict. That's different.
Yeah,
that's a different.
Yeah, that's different. Yeah, they do everything they can to be like, that's really let's
it's like his reasoning is okay. Like let's make this. Wyatt's our protagonist. Let's make his wife a piece of shit. That's fine.
Right. It's basically they just need to add something like we have to give him some kind of reason. And it's based in some historical accuracy. She did overdose, but I don't know. That doesn't mean she was taking laudanum and getting high on opiates at the time. They go to see this show. We're introduced to like I said, Billy Zane's character right before that. Jason Priestley is, I don't know, I guess he's a deputy. I think that's who Jason Priestley is. I know for sure that he is in love with Billy Zane because he's like, what do you think about that? I think he's wonderful. And like, there is something so weirdly, Brokeback Mountain-ish about it. And I mean that in the best way possible. It sucks that you couldn't just be who you wanted to be back then, but whatever. I really thought, I was like, man, did you get that vibe at all? That he was definitely like pining for this young man?
Because like the camera holds on him just watching Zane up on screen.
Yeah.
And he's just like blinking and like he's got
just pans out and he's just rubbing his crotch like really hard. I was like, oh God. It's gonna hurt.
It pans out and like he's just got his massive erection, dude. It's just, but I don't know why, but even like I remember thinking before I watched this movie for the first time that Billy Zane was probably going to be a stage performer because he's such a feminine looking dude.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what is it? What is Curly? The prettiest man I ever saw. I was like, man, you're talking about like I'd have crawfished and fucked that devil in the ass. I was like, Jesus, there's a lot of goddamn. It's like, yeah, I'd take the deal, then crawfish and drill that old devil in the ass. It's like, all right, calm down. I love he's talking to Johnny Ringo. What about you, Juanita? What would you do? I already did it. It's like, okay, it's a little cheesy, but I like it. Yeah. It's a little bit. So it's a bit much, but I like it. The play goes on. We see exactly who Faust is, Josephine. We get some definite eye contact between her and Wyatt.
A lot of eye fucking in this movie.
Oh, dude. Major eye fucking. And basically, right after that, Bill Paxton is predicting his own death in the film. Not in real life. Oh, my God. No, just in the film. Because he starts talking about dying and like spiritualism and shit. I was like, oh, you're fucking dead. Why would you do that? Like, don't do that. Now you're dead. I do love all that. He's like, what if, he's like, what about God? Do you believe in God, Wyatt? He's like, I don't know. Yeah, I guess, maybe. And he's like, yeah, some say there's a light. If you go, it's the light going to heaven. He goes, what about hell? Is there a sign? He's like, God damn it, Wyatt. Like, I fucking died because he's trying to be so serious about it. He has a little bit of a tiff with Maddie, talking about is that the same bottle of Laudanum that, you know, basically she's just flying through the stuff.
Red flags. Couple of red flags. Red flags
all around. They end up going to the Oriental. They're making some money. Josephine walks in. I love this whole thing between him and Doc. He's like, so if she walk in here right now, you wouldn't do anything. He's like, no. I would ignore her. He goes, well, I'll remember that. And then she walks in the door. It's so fucking good. Right, I love she walks in the door and this dude walks up and he's like, you want to dance? And they just dance off into the crowd. I'd be like, I just wanted her to walk in and be like, listen, kid, you're real cute. I'd love to. I gotta take a shit. I've been on stage for 2 hours. I've got a shit right now.
And she comes in. Take a seat, man. My fucking legs are killing me.
Yeah, she's like, you know, it would be great. Some potato wedges. See if the bar's got any. That'd be fucking fantastic. She gets the old cold shoulder from Wyatt. I stand corrected. You're an oak, Wyatt. Sorry, you're an oak makes him sound like I picture this obscure character from Fallout 3. It's a guy who's been turned into a tree and he's like, kill me. And that's all I can fucking think of. This is a really obscure fucking pick. They go to, I think this is poker. It might be the Pharaoh table. They start making a bit of money. Billy Zane pops in. And now we're really pretty much met all of our characters that we're going to meet at this point. We've really kind of got everything under there. We see this showdown between Johnny Ringo and fucking Doc Holliday. Talk to me about this, man. What'd you think of this?
Yeah, this was tense. It starts off with Ike, right? Like Ike's doing what Ike does.
Yeah.
And, I'm in my prime. And he's fucking sweating, dude. I love the disappearing sweat and the reappearing sweat in this movie.
Well, it's like, imagine how uncomfortable that would be as an actor. Every single shot, somebody's coming up and like, and just constantly spraying this shit on you. It's like, God, I get so tired. I hate getting wet. If it's raining or like my feet get wet and shit, I get pissed. I really dislike it. So, like, there's something about, like, I feel so bad for him having to get sprayed. And I feel so bad he made $17 million from this, probably.
So Holiday points out that because I don't know, again, just let me know if you know, because I don't know the history of it. So Holiday points out that Johnny Ringo was the deadliest pistolier since Wild Bill Hickok. Which is, because I know the reputation of Wild Bill Hickok, having seen Deadwood. So, is that accurate? Is that close to any source of fact?
Not that I really could figure out. From a lot of what I've read, he was just kind of a average Joe, Johnny Ringo. But I don't know. Maybe in his time he was, and that just kind of got lost to history. I'm not 100% sure. But I don't think there was any kind of special rivalry between. Obviously, right. It's a movie. And that's fine with me. I'm not saying it bothers me in any shape, form, or fashion. But it is kind of interesting seeing these guys have like a Latin school yard argument.
What
I don't know.
It's kind, dude. Like the battle of the education. Like, holy shit.
And I'm not going to sit here and try to translate that. Yes, I've Googled it. Yes, I've watched plenty of YouTube videos. There's Old Latin, there's New Latin, there's Roman Latin. Look it up yourself. To me, it's more interesting if you don't know what they're saying. I think you can kind of figure out from their body language that, these guys are throwing down with their BDEs,
right. We don't really. The unblinking eye contact as well. Like, it's all.
Yeah. You see Johnny kind of be like this, he's pointing at his gun and be like, hey, ekbate siturum. It's like, hey, this is my gun. And this is what, we know what they're saying without having to say too much.
Also, just want to point out, dude, one of my favorite shots in this movie, and it's in The Hateful Eight as well. And I kind of wonder whether Kurt Russell put Tarantino up onto it, like in that movie. the pan down from Kurt Russell to the shotgun under the table.
Oh.
Like that's in The Hateful Eight. There's a shot like that in The Hateful Eight, and it's such a huge revelatory moment that changes everything about that movie. And it's like, holy shit, man. Like, I love that shit. Like, I mean, because we saw Tarantino do that in Inglourious Bastards, right? At the beginning with
oh yeah, in the
with
bar
Landa.
with
Landa at the bottom, and then you got the German girls and the Jewish girls.
I'm thinking of the bar scene when they cut to underneath the table and he's got the pistol and shit. And I was like,
yes,
okay.
that too. Yeah, but I love that shot, dude. I love like a little pan down and reveal to see something that changes the stakes of a scene or like the context of a scene. Like you think you've got the story until you see this one thing. It's so good. Right,
and I think probably 75% of the people know when Wyatt puts his hand under the table, they're like, oh, okay, things have just gotten very serious. Right. We need to move along. Like, we need to call it, guys.
Also, who installed that thing? Like, you got down there, and
I know.
Let me put some screws down here. Yep, let's go.
And I'd love, it's like, hey, Morgan, go stand in front of that table. I want to make sure if I pop this thing on you, I'd blow your fucking dick off. Wyatt ends up kind of finding Josephine coincidentally. They chat for a little bit. They decide to ride the sexual tension out of their horses, but they can't ride it out of their hearts. Man,
I just can't do it.
I love it.
I can't do it. Just feels too whimsical. Like, okay,
yes.
Here's something I wanted to talk about this movie, actually. This movie as a whole feels very fantastical. Like, I mean, that's the only word that kind of kept coming to mind. It was like, like later when we get like montages of them just blasting cowboys left, right, and center, right?
Right.
This movie feels very like larger than life. Like, whereas like,
they only killed
310
4
to Yuma is, exactly. Whereas like 310 to Yuma is a very like intimate sort of story about fatherhood and all this stuff.
Right.
And Unforgiven is very intimate as well, but in a very different way. Whereas this is kind of like, like fun, like, fun, fantasy, kind of like Western. Does that make sense?
I think you're 100% correct, because also I think being based on one of the most infamous like Western events in history, there is a certain sandbox that you're playing in. You're like, okay, we know Morgan has to die. We know Virgil has to get shot. We know there's this fight at the OK Corral. This is what happens to Johnny. Let's just make this like Morgul. Morgul. Bring me the head of the ancient one, Morgul. But I think they become these like larger than life archetypes of these characters, which I'm not complaining about that though. I think this works in a Western because I think a lot of people know that a lot of stories are probably embellished, or some of them are made up even wholesale, but a lot of them are true, and the ones that are true, every story has a little bit of fiction mixed in there after so many years of it being told. It's like the game of telephone,
Chinese
you sit there and right. You say one thing and it becomes another and it becomes another and blah, blah, blah. So I think
Wyatt Earp was a British sailor. Like, he wasn't even like a cowboy at all, dude. Like, a cowboy, sorry. He wasn't even a lawman.
Yeah. Wyatt Earp was a Dutch peasant girl. In the 1810s, to start making shit up. Wyatt Earp was one of the 12 apostles.
Wyatt Earp was Jesus.
Wyatt Earp was Mahatma Gandhi. He talks with Josephine about what, she says, what do you want out of life? And she's asking him all of the tough questions. He's dodging this shit like bullets at OK Corral. He's trying to get out of this so fucking bad. She's asking him what he wants out of life. Again, I find her so unbelievably charming. She's like, I'm always happy unless I'm bored. She's kind of like talking to herself, looking down at the ground. I was like, God, I love her. I think that she's asking Wyatt stuff that nobody in the world has ever asked her before. And I really, really like that. I like the fact that these are things that his own wife has never even bothered to ask him. And she's an independent woman. How accurate this is, I have no idea, but I don't really care. I enjoy her character a lot in this. I like the way that she converses with him and kind of jumps past this big, I mean, the mustache itself is 10 feet tall. The wall of emotion and fortress he has put up is so much. And she's just jumping right over them. She's like, yeah, I don't care. What do you want out of life? Are you happy? She's asking him all these tough questions. I love it. And I love, as he's talking to her, she's like, I've got no time to be a lady. I am a woman. I like men. If that makes me unladylike, so sue me. He goes, well, you're different. That's for sure. But you're definitely a lady. I take my oath on it. It's like, dude, she is drenched.
Dude, she couldn't get back up on the horse because it was... Man.
She slips off the horse.
She slipped right off, man. That was...
Oh, man. I would fucking... She just gets up there and like... just eats it.
Fucking breaks
falls
her
in the
neck.
neck. The horse is slipping everywhere trying to get up. Sorry. I'm sorry. Let's get...
I just got this mental image of, that Family Guy episode where Peter gets the mentally handicapped horse?
Yeah.
And he takes it to the track, and Meg's like, God, it even runs retarded.
Yes, I remember that now. That's like in the early days of Family Guy. Family Guy was really good.
That to me is the peak era of Family Guy.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Wyatt comes home. He finds Maddie high on the opium again. Talks about she's got a new bottle. She needs to go to the doctor. And, again, he's trying to sway her into, he's trying, and a little fucked uply, to try to make her into like Josephine in a weird way. He's trying to throw this life by her and realizes it's just never going to happen. Yeah. Right, yeah. Right.
But I mean,
realizes it's never going to happen.
Can you blame the guy? Like, he comes home and she's in bed and, she doesn't want to go out or anything. She just wants to chill and do drugs all day. And I'm just high, like, yeah, like, can you blame him?
I mean, yeah, I especially back then with the way that recovery and shit went. There's never, it's not like there was any sympathy for anyone who was getting high all the time on opiates and barbiturates and shit.
I mean, they're going to be dead in like two years, right? I mean, that's when they're
right. She's 41. She's already 8 years past the maximum cutoff date. She's like Logan's running. She should be dead at this point. Date. But she looks at Wyatt like he's talking fucking Dutch. She has no idea. He's just, hey, let's go to bed. We get Curly Bill on the opium den. All this is really good. I feel capital. It's so fucking good. I love Powers Booth in this. He does such a great job as Curly Bill. And he's a really big, apparently stage actor. I didn't realize that's where Powers Booth started, was in the stage. And he actually has a lot of sympathy for his characters in this. He was actually talking about the fight at the OK Corral. Sheriff Behan's like, oh, you don't have to go down there. I've already disarmed him. He goes, well, if Sheriff Behan said he disarmed him, why did the Earp brothers continue to push towards these cowboys? And he's kind of like, the Earps are not spotless at all. They're almost at times as bad as the Cowboys, but their shit is a little bit more justified.
Don't talk about Morgan that way. All right, just don't.
Well, apparently Virgil was the one leading this group. It wasn't even really Wyatt, but Wyatt was the one who stayed and everything kind of finished while he was there, and that's how it came down. But Virgil, as the older brother back then, was kind of the ringleader.
I can see that a little bit, yeah, because Virgil is the one who actively makes the decision, right? I mean, right.
He's the moral authority of the trio.
Right, exactly. Morgan and Wyatt are reactive to Virgil's decision to bring in these gun laws, right?
Right, exactly. 100%. We after our night with Maddie, we end up at the Oriental. Doc's playing a nocturne, Frederick fucking Chopin. Then we cut over. Then we cut over to Curly Bill. Curly Bill's going a little crazy.
I feel just capital.
That's so good,
dude.
Man.
I love that delivery,
fucking
man.
good.
He's rest in peace, Powers Booth, man. God damn. Between Bill Paxton and Powers Booth being the Like they might be my two favorite characters in this movie, and both of them are now, deceased. It sucks.
Right. Yeah. And I think, I think those two, I really, really enjoy Stephen Lang. I think Stephen Lang's pretty underrated. He plays a really good, shitting his pants type Ike Clinton.
And Thomas
sure
Hayden Church is in this.
Dude.
As his brother,
the Sandman himself. Fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Apparently, I think Stephen Lang, I think he does Schwarzenegger's autobiography. I think he narrated that, the audiobook. I'm pretty sure it's Stephen Lang.
Yeah,
I think that is Stephen Lang. Fred White comes out to disarm Curly Bill, ends up being deemed an accidental shooting later on. In real life, that's actually what happened. It was oh, sorry, I just hit my mic. It was deemed an accidental mic hitting. Sorry. No, it was deemed an accidental shooting in real life, and he was actually let go for it. Fred White's killed. Wyatt comes out there. Again, all this is unbelievably accurate. He actually came out, pistol whipped Curly Bill, and they tried to rush him. The town wanted this guy hanged. The Cowboys wanted him go. I think this gets a little bit fictionalized, but still an unbelievable line. He was like, yeah, your friends might get me in a rush, but not before I turn your head into a canoe. And he's like, oh, he's bluffing. No, he ain't bluffing. Like, that is so good. Good, man. I like it. He calls he's like, you're not as stupid as you look,
Yeah. Russell commands this scene, man. Like, and like, I love Ike just being like, he's not bluffing. He'll kill me. Like, it's right. Yeah. And you believe it. You believe it because Russell's performance feels so genuine.
Absolutely. And I love as Josephine is watching this on the sideline with fucking the sheriff with God, I forgot his last name. The sheriff. BM. Thank you. And I love the fact that she's like, yeah, he's all right for now. Like he's okay. He's some GD. He's some good dick. But I'll get back to him. He's okay.
Also, this movie kind of like taught me the difference between sheriff and marshal. I never knew the difference because there's a sheriff and there's a marshal, and sheriff is a county authority figure, and a marshal is a town authority figure. Because I remember watching Django Unchained, and Django, he walks in and he's like, "Remember, get the sheriff, not the marshal." And it's like, oh, okay. Like, I wonder what the difference is there. But
I guess it's like
like state, and I guess it's like what we have with like state and federal law,
right?
Like police, yeah.
God, yeah. We have that too. We have like state police and highway patrol. Like, God damn it, there's so many fucking different kind of cops. But everything gets kind of settled down. Behan looks like a bitch in front of Josephine because the man she loves is out there holding one cowboy by his neck and has a barrel of a gun pointed to another one. Yeah. And he can't walk away because he'll slip and fall in her trail. She's like a snail when she walks because she is just unbelievably...
His dick inverted into itself when he saw
he is... There's just something so like sneebly about Behan in this. It's just like, God, get away from me, dude. Just like there's something about Behan that I fucking hate. So they end up taking Curly Bill in. Wyatt talks about at the billiards parlor the fact that Curly Bill got off. That there were no witnesses. Terrio Quinn, John Locke from Lost, as you were talking about, comes in. I guess he's the mayor of Tombstone. Love Terrio Quinn. Love Terrio Quinn. He's so underrated. No, I have not. I know him a lot more from Silver Bullet. I want to say he was in X-Files, but I might be wrong about that.
He was in X-Files.
So I remember.
I'm so glad that you can talk about Lost and where it went and stuff like that, but I'm so glad that the showrunners of Lost had enough faith in Terry Quinn to put most of the plot weight on his shoulders because man, he carries it so well. Like he's such a great actor.
I need to check that out, and he's worked with so many different people. I knew him from The Rocketeer, Silver Bullet. Like I knew him from so many different things. The Stepfather movies, those were fucking. Probably the biggest thing he was in. I think he was like the main villain in that. He was like the leading role. But
I've never seen Young Guns. Who's in that?
I haven't either, but I know what you're talking about.
Hmm.
He comes into the parlor trying to convince them they need a lawman now. Fred White's dead. They all reject him. Virgil says that he's busy. They all say, no, we're not really interested. But you can tell something's eating away at Virgil. Virgil's conscience is starting to get away from him.
He's in a moral quandary.
Right. And I love when he goes outside, he pulls that boy into the street. You see the sheriffs go by, and they show this woman with the scar. And I'm like, she is still unbelievably hot. An unbelievably attractive woman.
Yeah.
With that scar.
This guy makes her hotter because she's seen some shit.
Yeah, well, I think there's something about the fact that she is kind of a little, not to get too head up your ass, but she's a little symbolic of Tombstone. She's this beautiful face with this blemish, with this scar on it, and that's kind of what the Cowboys have become to Tombstone. I think it's very symbolic of what everybody in the town. Yes, this place is prospering, but at what price is exactly? And I think that's about the deepest kind of philosophical thing you can take out of this movie. It's really good guys and bad guys, and the reason why I talk about the historical, and the reason why I talk about a lot of the historical accuracies in this is that this movie is not really like what is good and what is evil. It's a pretty accurate depiction of some shit that happened hundreds of years ago. And I find that pretty interesting. And sometimes movies don't really have this whole like, there is this kind of like, hey, follow your dreams, do whatever you want. Life is short. That's pretty much what Wyatt's kind of whole arc is. But what's more interesting to me is kind of like the historical elements of it, because it's not really, you can talk about loyalty and love and all this other stuff, but I find this a little bit more interesting, the historical stuff, especially when it's something that, I know in Australia, the story is probably not as well known, but I'm sure a lot of Australians, you say the word Wyatt Earp, they're like, yeah, the gunfighter, like, of course I know who that guy is. So I find that stuff to be a lot more interesting because they do get a lot of this stuff right. But right after that, Virgil becomes, the sheriff. Or I think deputy. I don't know what exactly his.
I think he became the sheriff
is.
Because I just from my
or is he the marshal?
My little reading. He became the marshal. Yeah, so he passed this law. Right, it is hereby declared unlawful for any person to carry deadly weapons, concealed or otherwise, except the same be carried openly inside and in hand within the limits of the city of Tombstone. So I guess they kind of went the way of the Port Arthur massacre in Australia. They're just like, no, fuck it. We're banning all guns.
Yeah, right. It's like, yep, fuck it. No, we're not doing that. Wyatt shows up, tries to talk some sense into him. Bill Paxton reveals he's been basically deputized. Wyatt says, hey, have fun with that. I have no interest. No thanks, but no thanks. The next night in the Oriental, we have Ike versus Doc playing these cards. I love that. Maybe poker just isn't your game. I know. How about a spelling contest? It's so fucking good, man. It's unbelievable. Like, his timing and shit is so fucking good.
Sorry, just 1 sec. I'm just gonna give Steph something.
Oh no, you're good. Go for it.
Hey, Bob. Love you.
Namey.
Fuck off.
How does it feel to be on the other end of that for one?
Alright, sorry about that. She was just heading out and I just had to do this.
Oh, you're good. I needed to move anyways. I don't want my chair all squeaking. Okay. So what do we say? Hey, Ike, how about a spelling contest? Okay, let's pick it up from there. But apparently a lot of this is very accurate. He came in, was having this like spree. Ike Clanton was running his mouth. A lot of this starts because Ike Clanton was running his mouth talking about killing the Earps and shit. And this is, I think, where things really start to turn south. One, for Doc, obviously, but then B, for the whole of Tombstone. All of this was really starting to gain the traction. The train is really starting to pick up traction. It's really starting to go.
It is. But I want to talk about the consequence of this versus, I guess, Virgil's decision. Because, Virgil, I get it. I understand why he made the decision, right? He sees this violence and he is, for lack of a better term, prospering financially from this violence in this little town, this little city. And, how could you not? You know, like you and your brothers are former lawmen, right? This is not what like you guys were. Your reputation is based on stopping situations like this and stopping like situations like this to like like from happening. So it's like you're becoming rich, you're becoming financially successful based on something that you've sworn an oath to not do against. You know what I mean? So it's like I don't know. Like it's interesting because I think Virgil for himself made the right decision, and for Morgan, unfortunately, he does die.
Yeah.
So ultimately, it doesn't end up going too well for him. But morally, I mean, like again, it's a Western trope, right? It's a Western value. It's this genre's value that your protagonists do things that are morally correct, right? They're like
You're
morally
right.
that like you don't see a lot of like anti-heroes in westerns. It's almost always like good versus bad. I can't seem to think of any like sort of anti-heroes in a western, but like yeah, like I don't know. It's interesting because I think Virgil, while yes, this does start sort of like a downward trend for these characters, it's basically spells doom for them. They invite doom through the door. It's ultimately the correct decision morally. Which goes hand in hand.
Whatever do you mean? Sorry, that's another one of my favorite lines. Yeah, this is where everything breaks bad, so to speak. Doc collapses. They're like, hey, we got to get him the hell out of here. Ike slaps a bartender because he's a bitch, slaps an unarmed man. And he starts running his mouth a little bit, gets caught at the door by Sam Elliott. He gets thrown in the slammer for the night. The unbelievable line. What's wrong with him? He's a lunger. Oh, yeah, well, I hope you die.
Fucking hell, man. I'm just like, what? There is no like subtlety or like
holy sportsmanship. Shit, man. I hope you die. And it's the way he says it. It's so loud and proud, man. It's fucking great. The Cowboys come to pick him up the next day. He says, hey, no way in hell he's not getting his guns back, not until he sobers up. They say, hey, you got a fight coming. So now we're getting the setup for the OK Corral. We see Doc is in really bad shape. He's lost 60% or more of his lung capacity. So he is like Arthur Morgan, late chapter 5, early chapter 6, Red Dead Redemption. And I really, the more and more I'm watching this, I'm like, man, I feel this so much harder after playing Red Dead. I really, really feel for Doc so much more to be so young and basically be slapped with this death sentence at such a young age. It's like, whew, man, and I don't think they had an antidote or a vaccine for this until like the 50s. I want to say it was a while before they actually had a treatment for tuberculosis, and I think it definitely still can occur now. But are you Googling it?
Yeah, I'm Googling it. Let me say, sorry, vaccine primarily used. It's called BCG. Fuck, I can't find it.
Jesus Christ, Soheb. Fuck, I'm fucking doing a podcast with my brother's kids over here.
Oh, shit, that's good.
But basically, this did not, regardless of when it came out, it didn't come out for a long time. Can't really, the search for the cure in 1943, Selman Waxman discovered a compound that acted against tuberculosis
1921. 1921,
the
the BCG tuberculosis vaccine was first administered to a human.
Man, that's so weird. So crazy. We Google different things. You got different years. So it's like, yeah, no wonder no one can fucking agree on anything anymore.
Yeah. Ike Clanton was a hero. Oh, wait, what?
Yeah. Billy the Kid was gay. But basically the doctor's like, hey, man, you've got time. You just got to cut out your smoking and drinking, playing cards, and you can't bang this unbelievably hot ass Irish Mila Jovovich over here. You can't be good. God, yeah, please, like, when she has those things on her arm, like the lacy things that go all the way down, and I was just like, I would take TB to have a summer with her. I'd be like, it would be, and the thing is, she's ballsy because there's no way she doesn't have TB by the end of this movie. Because she's like kissing him, and I mean, I think she starts.
I don't know too much about TB. Like, how's it transmitted?
I know for a fact that you can get it from like someone we know, wink, wink, that got coughed in the face. I don't want to ruin anything, but yeah, that's that. I watched a doctor react to that scene, and someone was like, "Yeah," he's like, "You can definitely get TB if someone coughs in your face, because those parasites can transfer over and stuff." So I guess her pulling out his old tonsil snake and going to fucking Throat Town is not the best. As soon as the doctor leaves, as soon as she walks out, she goes, "Yes, you have been a good woman, but you may also be the Antichrist." It's so good for it. And such a fucking, this might be the most quotable movie ever. It's so fucking, like, maybe next to Princess Bride. Princess Bride is extremely quotable, but Tombstone is just like, man.
Yeah, during the scene, dude, I needed a couple of minutes because
even the thought of it. That is a woman. The way that Sam Elliott is a man, this is a fucking woman. Like, I am terrified of her.
She does not give a fuck about tuberculosis, man. She's just like,
no, she's just care.
Like, what are those words that doctor said? I don't give a fuck, man. It's got more than 2 syllables. I'm out. I'm just gonna give you a fucking blowjob now.
I know, dude. It's so fucking funny, and the fact that she's. Well, the fact that she's kind of in denial about the whole thing. She's like, "Oh yeah, I told you it was there was nothing to it. You're fine." And she's kind of in denial about it. And to Doc's point, he's like, "Hey, we kind of got to figure out what's going on here because things aren't going great." And she's like, "Nah, I'm just going to gargle your tonsil snake, and call it a day." But we get to a little fight commencing, we get the boys kind of rallying up outside.
No. Before that, we get a quick glimpse at this carriage. Equal pay for equal work, regardless of sex.
Oh.
Those bitches.
The whole thing I thought about was the suffragette woman from Red Dead Redemption 2 in Saint Denis. Talking about she's the one who's always like yelling and shit. Which I did think that was pretty. There's a couple of those. Like, there's a woman at the beginning. She's wearing like a bunch of different pictures on her dress, and I can't remember. It's like different people, and I can't remember what that was for. But I do remember that. I think that's historically accurate. But just little things. This movie could never have put something in like that. But I give it so much more props, like the fact that Sheriff Behan is part of the Anti-Chinese League. It's like, you could have just left that out. No one would have even known. But it's like, yeah, that's probably pretty fucking accurate, I
always feel like I felt like goddamn what kind of Dennis from It's Always Sunny. Like, that meme where he's driving along. He's like, "You dumb bitch."
Yeah, you dumb bitch.
It wasn't until 1963, the Equal Pay Act.
Good God.
You dumb bitch.
What's so funny is that you have these Western guys that are like, yeah, these guys are carrying guns. It's like, women make like 10 cents on the dollar, right? Like, why don't you go shoot somebody over that? Like, that's kind of a bigger deal than a couple of guys carrying guns. Basically, Terry O'Quinn comes to Pam visit, says, "Hey, they're behind the OK Corral. They've been talking about killing you all day. They've been going around and running their mouths." Actual quote, Wyatt from Doc: "Hey Doc, you don't need to get mixed up into all of this. This isn't your fight." And Doc Holliday saying, basically, that is a hell of a, basically, fuck you. This is totally my fight. He says, "Hey, give them the shotgun. Maybe they'll feel a little bit less intimidated." with Doc on the street howitzer. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, man. I was like, that's pretty fucking gnarly. He swaps out the trading cane for a double barrel. Doc looks like fucking Count Dracula. I love that. He just has that coat on the shoulders.
I like that.
He's all pale
cool.
and sweaty. I really dig that. And just watching them walk is just so like there's a fucking like barn on fire in the background and everybody turns around and look and Doc doesn't look. He just keeps walking. And I wanted him to be like, I did that. I burnt it down.
That was
I just wanted him to be like,
game.
Yeah, I got my rage bone. I only know so much stiffness.
One of my favorite shots, we kind of went past it just a little bit, is Wyatt opening up the gun case, and you see his pistol, and
the Peacemaker.
You go from barrel to the handle, and it's engraved Wyatt Earp Peacemaker from the grateful people of Dodge City, April 1878. Love that. Nice.
That's fucking cool. You can buy that replica. It's about I want to say his gun sold for like $250,000. I know at some point it sold for about $200,000, $250,000, but they end up at the OK Corral. I love the kid who comes running out. I would have loved if Morgan just shot the kid in the face.
Morgan, of all people.
Yes, he's the jumpiest one, and it's like there's something about the youngest person. It's like, man, it's such a tragedy. He dies at like 28. He shoots like a 9-year-old, and like, oh shit, fuck, it's really bad.
I love the wink.
Dude, that's what really sets all this off. The fact that he winks at Thomas Hayden Church, and it's like, I like the fact that, in reality, nobody really knows who shot first. No one really knows what the hell happened. It's all conjecture and arguments and shit.
Is that right? Because I don't know too much about the battle at OK Corral. So it is in dispute, is it? Is that right? Like, there's no
there's so much. Like, I mean, there's no dispute. I think 2 or 3 of the Cowboys got killed. Wyatt didn't get shot, but Virgil, Morgan, and Doc all got shot. Doc got shot in the hip. I think Morgan got shot in the shoulder, and Virgil took one to the leg. I think that's just from my limited memory. But it's also true. I think like half of them weren't even armed. Like the Cowboys, like half of them didn't even fucking have guns, which I don't know. Again, all of it, it's so hard because it's like, man, you're talking about something that happened, God, I mean, 140 fucking years ago. And it's not like, we had
it's the technology 30-second shootout, dude. Gunfight at OK Corral was a 30-second shootout between lawmen led by Virgil Earp and members of a loosely organized group of outlaws called the Cowboys that all occurred at about 3 p.m. on Wednesday, October 26th, 1881. Damn. It is generally regarded as the most famous shootout in the history of the American Old West. Holy shit.
That's fucking crazy. It's definitely not 30 seconds in the movie, but I do think it's only like a minute long. It's like a minute and 15 seconds. Pretty short.
That surprised me because again, first time I saw this, didn't know. The first time I saw this, I didn't even know that this was a true story.
Holy shit, that's crazy.
I mean, that was probably back in 2014 or something like that. But this was. It really surprised me that the gunfight was only, like a couple minutes long, less than that.
Yeah, I think it's like a minute 20, a minute 30, maybe. But again, very accurate. Ike Clanton definitely threw his hands up and said, "Hey, I don't have a gun." And Wyatt Earp 100% said, "Hey, the fight's gotten to commencing. Get to fighting or get away."
That's awesome. I love that.
I don't know if that's word for word what he said, but he said, "Hey, we're fighting. If you're not, fucking get lost." Basically. Now Ike Clanton didn't jump into a photo room and steal a gun and start shooting at people. That's totally fabricated. But they really make Ike Clanton the Dewey of Scary Movie in this. He's just like, oh shucks, like he's always got toilet paper stuck to his heel, like they just always make him this stupid character.
Can I just read this? Sorry, this is just on Wikipedia, so I don't know how much of it is like fully whatever, but I'm just gonna read this real quick. So Virgil Earp was not expecting a fight Once Behan said he'd disarmed the Cowboys, Virgil moved Doc's cane to his right hand and shifted the pistol in his waistband from the right side to his left. Holiday still concealed the short shotgun under his long jacket. Wyatt, too, was not expecting a fight and put his pistol in his overcoat pocket. Billy Clanton and Frank McClory wore revolvers in holsters on their belt. When Virgil saw the Cowboys, he testified he immediately commanded the Cowboys to, quote, "Throw up your guns, I want your guns." Wyatt said Virgil told the Cowboys, quote, "Throw up your hands, I have come to disarm you." Virgil and Wyatt both testified they saw Franklin McClory and Billy Clanton draw and cock their single action 6-shot revolvers. Virgil yelled, quote, "Hold, I don't mean that," or "Hold, I don't want that." Jeff Morey, who served as a historical consultant on the film Tombstone, compared testimony by partisan and neutral witnesses and came to the conclusion that the Earps described the situation accurately. Who started shooting first is not certain. Accounts by both participants and eyewitnesses are contradictory. The smoke from the black powder used in the weapons added to the confusion of the gunfight in the narrow space. Those loyal to one side or the other told conflicting stories, and independent eyewitnesses who did not know the participants by sight were unable to say for certain who shot first. The 6 or 7 men with guns fired for about 30 shots in around 30 seconds. Damn.
Mm-hmm. Bow, at every fucking second. Yeah, that's fucking crazy. That's really interesting to hear, especially because that's literally the line Sam Elliott says. "Hold, I don't want that." That's exactly what he says when he rocks up. Thankfully everybody on our side is really alive. Sheriff Behan tries to arrest Wyatt. And he says, "You know what, Sheriff? I don't think I'll let you do that today. I've got to go fuck your girlfriend." And he leaves. I've got to go fuck your girlfriend blind. He ends up, I like this shot a lot of him staring at Josephine. And then Maddie coming around and seeing Wyatt staring at Josephine. It's just kind of like, yeah, there we go. Like there's the die has been cast, this is kind of the end of things. Which I think Maddie only pops up 1 or 2 more times. And then that's basically the end of things.
God.
And
I hate when your wife cockblocks you. It's fucking worse.
Yeah. I hate when your wife and then your girlfriend's boyfriend cockblocks you in the same 10-foot radius, I love the fact that they take the moment to have the scene where Wyatt's like staring at Josephine and she's staring at him, and then Maddie comes up and Morgan and Virgil are like, "Yeah, I've been shot, by the way. I'm just laying here in the fucking dirt, like this 1890 dirt it's probably infected. All this has syphilis, by the way."
There is horse shit mixed in with this dirt, dude. It's in my wound.
I brushed my teeth with horse shit this morning and it's been on the wound. That's what happened.
I picked up my bar of soap, which is made of horse shit.
Yeah. I had some coffee that was made out of cactus. But basically we see the funeral of the Cowboys. We see the kind of protest to their death. When it comes down to it, and this is pretty accurate. There were actually 2 papers in the town that there was like a Democratic and a Republican paper, and I think the Republicans were with the Earps and the Democrats were against them. So if you read the Democratic paper, I know, they're the worst. What's funny is I think the Democrats were the ones saying, "Hey, the Cowboys are not that bad," and the Republican paper was like, "Oh, the Wyatts, are so brave, and they totally were justified," and it was just so unbelievably biased on both sides. It was ridiculous.
You're telling me the news media is biased?
Yeah, you're telling me that that even since the 1890s there hasn't been any sense of oneism.
Journalistic
people have been
integrity?
divided.
Yeah, I didn't know those things.
Even in this tiny little town that's like 7 fucking buildings, they still can't agree on anything.
You know, in this town that after there was an election, they fucking called for voter fraud. You know that, right?
There was only 18 votes, Eustace. Shut up. But I tell you what, now that we're through the fight at the OK Corral, why don't we take a bathroom break? Why don't we come back? We'll pick back up from here. Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
All right, guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be a huckleberries. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the podcast. We're having a great time recording this. This is just me breaking in here to tell you all about Bad Crystal, a Breaking Bad podcast, hosted by yours truly, us here at Midnight Double Feature. This is a podcast that we have been, I guess, recording in the background as, I'm a big Breaking Bad fan. I mean, I love that goddamn show. It kind of like sort of shaped me and introduced me to, I guess, what we call now the golden age of television. I followed it when it was airing, and now Colin's never seen it before, so I'm kind of guiding him through the entire series, and we're having a great time doing it. We're currently recording season 3. Seasons 1 and 2 are now available via the Bad Crystal, a Breaking Bad podcast feed. So if you want to go and check that out, you absolutely can. We highly recommend it. It's such a fun side gig for us, and we're having the best time doing it. So check it out. It's called Bad Crystal, a Breaking Bad podcast. Season 3 is on its way, and I can't be more excited. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for supporting the show. As always, much love from us here at Midnight Double Feature. And back to the episode.
Well, hello, boys and girls. Welcome back to Midnight Double Feature. You're a daisy for hanging in so far. I hope you're enjoying the episode. We're coming at you with the second half of our coverage of Tombstone. We are freshly squeezed, as we always like to say. We're jumping back in right after the fight at the OK Corral. We've got this kind of little... the aftermath, the fallout of the OK Corral. We see Deputy Billy is at odds with the Earps now. I'm just nothing, but if I wasn't, I'd fight you right now, so I don't want to talk to you. And he walks off. And they're just like, man, all they did was ever laugh at him. All they did was ever make fun of this dude, and he's just so enraptured. It's like that guy who got picked on by that group, but he was still friends with them just because he just tried. God, it's such a sad sight. It's such a sad sight to see.
Yeah, well, homosexuals, what are you going to do?
What are you going to do, man? Ugh, terrible. But Ringo comes out. He says, hey, I want your blood. I want your souls. And I want them both right now. He's drunk and he's wanting to play for keeps. He's obviously he's in mourning as well of these like Cowboys. But he throws down. He says, it starts with you. Let's fucking go right now. Are you guys too chicken to play for blood, for honor? Are you guys too chicken to play for your souls? Well, I'm your huckleberry. Oh, dude, that is so fucking great. Like, what did you like? Had you heard this line before? Because to me, this is the Tombstone line. Yeah, I'm your huckleberry. Like, had you heard this before, or was this your first time seeing it?
No, okay. I had. Good. Yeah. I knew that this line was coming. I knew. I didn't know when, and I knew it was going to be delivered by Doc Holliday. I think like the very much like Wyatt Earp, that line's reputation preceded it, kind of thing.
Oh yeah. Oh, dude, I just love, and the fact that you see Doc sitting there, he's getting the shave from the barber. He's in the background, but you kind of forget about him, and then out of nowhere, like fucking Batman, he pops up, and he's just like, "I'll be a huckleberry." Some people have confused this line with "I'll be your hucklebearer." Bearer, and apparently they called the handles on caskets at one point like huckles,
Oh,
I'll be your hucklebearer. And I was like, oh, okay. Now, in the script, it definitely says huckleberry, 100%. And that's taken as a line of like, I'll dance with you. I'll be your dancing partner, like kind of thing. But Doc goes back to his shave. They take Johnny Ringo off. They say, "Oh, he's just drunk." They're trying to kind of calm things down. They're like, "Hey, now's not the time." Sheriff Behan goes to see Josephine. He says, "I need to talk with you," and he lays it out there. After tonight, there's going to be one man in Tombstone. And I think this definitely. I don't think this is factually accurate. I'm not 100% sure. If it is, that definitely means that Sheriff Behan was basically a cowboy. Like, he had to have known the Cowboys were going to attack the Earps, which, I mean, makes him maybe not guilty, but 100% complicit.
Collaborator.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Virgil decides to call it a night. He starts walking home, but he doesn't get too far, does he, Zoheb?
No, he doesn't.
He ends up walking right back with arm looking like Swiss cheese. Oof, that's rough, man. And you hate to see Sam Elliott in this kind of condition. It reminds me of Roadhouse. You hate seeing him like that because it's like, man, there must have been 8 guys that were 10 feet tall, that like who got the fucking upper hand on Sam Elliott?
Look, the only thing I remember about Tombstone and Sam Elliott was his pubes. That's all I remember. Sorry, Roadhouse and Sam Elliott was his pubes.
I love did you get, and this might have been a purely US thing, but did you guys have like the Chuck Norris jokes?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of my favorite ones is the boogeyman checks his closet for Chuck Norris. And my favorite one is Chuck Norris checks his closet for Sam Elliott.
That's cool. I love that.
On the distant planet of Krypton, Superman wears Chuck Norris pajamas, but in Chuck Norris's house, he wears Sam Elliott pajamas. I love that. Like, Sam Elliott's a fucking man.
Dude, the Expendable movies are absolute trash, but that second one is so incredibly self-aware, and it stars like Chuck Norris in that movie. And he makes a Chuck Norris joke, and it's like,
oh, that's cool.
So good, dude. Like, it's the snake one. It's the one where he's like, I got bit by a snake. Oh wait, and then 3 days later, the snake died. he literally makes a fucking Chuck Norris joke. Like, that second one is genuinely great. I believe it's from the director of Con Air, so it's really, it's super well made as well. I would be down to cover that as a bonus. Like, I mean, like, I'm not even like, it's incredibly fun. Like, the first one and third one are just trash. The second one's good though.
I think my favorite is Chuck Norris went back in time to stop the assassination of JFK. And when he got there, he blocked the bullet with his beard, but JFK's head exploded in sheer amazement.
I
think that one's my favorite one.
That's awesome. That's dark as well.
I know. We see the women folk getting attacked, the ladies of the Earps, all getting attacked by these cowboys. Again, totally fictionalized, never happened. Virgil comes back, his arm's looking like Swiss cheese. And he ends up losing the use of that arm. Again, it's so, things are bad when you see Sam Elliott. He's like, "Not now, Wyatt." And you're like, oh shit, man, he's in a bad fucking way. And like, I thought he was going to die. I really did. Like, I 100% thought he was going to fucking die.
So when he's lying here, like, and he's sweating, right? Do you reckon that mustache, like, strains out the salt in his sweat, and it's just water?
Yeah,
like, because like
it's like a purifier. Like, it absorbs the sweat and just trickles water back into his mouth. He's like, I survived in the Mojave Desert on a 4-day trip. Just the moisture in my fucking mustache.
That thing is, I need to. Yeah, it's insane.
It's like a Swiss Army knife. Like, he's got like a corkscrew and like matches and like all types of shit like tucked away in it.
It's absolutely impenetrable, dude. Like, it looks like it's thicker than the fucking Great Wall of China. Like, there's no army that's breaching that.
Looks like some kind of old cat laid on his face and just stayed there. It's so like, you ever see those guys that can like make their mustache like do the wave? They're like. Yeah. Oh man, it looks like such an epic mustache. But basically, Virgil is going to lose the use of his arm. Wyatt leaves. He bumps into McMaster's, Turkey Creek, and Texas Jack. And McMaster says, "Hey, not after tonight. I'm not a cowboy anymore. I'm done. I don't agree with what's going on anymore." And this ultimately leads to his downfall as well. But it is pretty cool. It's good to see. It's good to show that there's at least some people in the Cowboys that are like, "Nah, we're not doing this." One of my problems with this movie, I don't understand, and I feel like this was edited in a weird way. This is one of the only like weird editing things. Why the fuck? It's like your brother just got shot in the arm. Bill Paxton takes off. He's so upset, and he goes and plays pool. And I was like, that just doesn't, like, I could understand if he was at the bar pissed off. It was just like, goddamn, fucking whatever. And he's drinking, and all of a sudden he gets shot. Like, okay, cool. But like, and the thing is, these things happen months apart. For time's sake, they condense it all together. It makes sense in terms of like a movie. Like, hey, they all got hit on the same night, which is kind of cool. But in reality, it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of weird for him to be playing pool right after. It's like, yeah, they're cutting your brother's arm off as you rack the fucking 8-ball. Like that's just, I don't know, that's strange to me. But I think it's just something most likely in the editing they decided to do, because they had to really, Kurt Russell took an axe to this thing and chopped out a lot of his own shit. So I'm sure they probably were trying to look to condense as much stuff as they possibly could. But then we get Morgan's death scene. This is
rough. This is rough.
It's rough. It's so undignified. Dying on a pool table with this dog barking in the background and all these people screaming, and it's like, that's not the way you think of this like hero dying. It's just dying in the middle of a parlor on a pool table, blind. It's so fucking just disgraceful in a way. It's just not how they expect it to go down, especially
it's so unceremonious.
Yes, exactly. And especially for Morgan, who's again, he's the youngest of the group to die. He's kind of this like weird sacrificial lamb in a way of like, now all bets are off the table. Now the gloves are off, and now the law doesn't matter anymore. Now it's jungle law. Now it's time to really get down to brass tacks. And this again is pretty accurate. I remember I think that they tried to put someone in jail for them trying to kill Virgil. I believe they found Ike Clanton's hat outside of Virgil's house. But of course, Ike Clanton had like 6 alibis from different cowboys, so he got cleared on it. And the judge told Wyatt Earp, "You're never going to bring this crowd in this way. Leave your prisoners out in the brush." That's exactly what the judge said to him. Like, go fucking kill them and get this over with, because this ain't working. I'm just saying, if you got a fucking judge telling you that shit, I think you might be on the right side of the law. I think you might be in the clear. For real. I
don't like
Morgan
this.
dies. This is awful, man.
I don't like him going outside and doing the
whole... it's very melodramatic. Very.
Can't you see? Like, I
love the fact that he robs a wife of her last moments with her husband. Like, why didn't you be like, "Hold on, Morgan, I'll get your wife"? He's like, "Nah, I'm the main character here. I'm Kurt Russell. Shut up. My mustache is bigger than Sam Elliott's.
He was my brother.
Shut up." Yeah,
he fucking wishes, dude. I reckon Kurt Russell looked back at this movie while making The Hateful Eight and was like, "Fuck. It wasn't as good as Sam Elliott's."
Yeah. It's like Jesse Ventura and Schwarzenegger about their size of the biceps in Predator. The next day we see Morgan's funeral. Actually, I don't want to go past too far. Him saying, talking about the white light, and he goes, "It ain't true. I can't see shit." And it's like, God damn it, man. Like your heart just goes out to him. I guess this is the next day. Yeah, we're seeing Morgan's casket and everything getting loaded up. Wyatt comes by, says, "Hey, I'm done. This thing is over with." We get one of the greatest lines in the movie as Billy, "Well, bye." That's such a fucking good line. Just the delivery is just unprecedented. Michael Biehn, man, do you smell that? It smells like somebody died. It's like his wife is right there.
Holy shit, dude.
Like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like, it's fucking gnarly, man. Let me take a sip here of my drink. This is, I think this is all subterfuge, though. I think this is all a cover. I think Wyatt wants that. I think Wyatt knows that Wyatt knows that they're going to to take this a step further. Even though they're leaving, he's like, yeah, they're going to come after us because we've pushed them. They're going to come after us as far as they can. And I think that's why right after that, I want to say that after he leaves, when I almost said Morgul, when Morgan gets killed, he leaves to show up to the train station, and there's Stillwell and Ike, and he ends up shooting Stillwell. This was a big fucking deal. And also movie wise, we get our exit of Sam Elliott. But this was a big fucking deal. Like the murder of the murder of Frank Stillwell, who's the guy that he shoots next to Ike, was a big fucking deal because Frank Stillwell actually put his hands up and was like, hey, all right, Law, like take me in. And Wyatt was like, nah, and just shot him. And that was a big fucking deal.
That's crazy.
That was not okay. And basically Behan was like, yeah, you're under arrest. He's like, nope, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, I'm not playing cops and robbers with you anymore. Like, I'm going to kill everybody. And for about 3 or 4 days, he did go on a spree. He killed about 4 or 5 people, and he was really just seeing red and had this bloodlust, I guess.
Because at some point, Batman's going to eventually kill the Joker. You know what I mean? Like, it can't always just be, let me put you in jail. Oh, you broke out. Let me put you in jail. Oh, you broke out. And that's something that I love about the Killing Joke. At some point, he's going to go. You can't do this forever. So I'm reading about the name of the Wikipedia article is so badass. It's called the Earp Vendetta Ride. It's so cool, dude. The Earp Vendetta Ride was a deadly search by a federal posse led by Deputy U.S. Marshal. I was about to say Deputy U.S. Marshal Raylan Givens from fucking Justified. Wyatt Earp, for a loose confederation of outlaw cowboys they believed had ambushed his brother. On March 20, 2 days after Morgan's murder, 2 days after Morgan's murder, Wyatt, his brothers Warren and James, Doc Holliday, and two other deputies were escorting Virgil and his wife Allie to a California-bound train in Tucson. They learned that suspects Ike Clanton and Frank Stillwell were already waiting there. After Virgil, Allie, and James boarded the train, Wyatt spotted 2 men near the train that he thought were Clanton and Stillwell. He and several men chased down. He and several men chased down and killed Stillwell, but lost the other. After Stillwell's body was found the next morning, the Tucson Justice of the Peace issued arrest warrants for the 5 lawmen suspected of the extrajudicial murder. When the men returned to Tombstone, Cochise County Sheriff John Behan had received a telegram notifying him of the Tucson warrants and attempted to detain 5 members of Earp's federal posse named in the warrants, but they ignored him. Damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
Basically, yeah, not today. That ain't happening. Yeah. And this is where, we get this bit of a killing spree, leading us up until the second biggest gunfight, where we get this fight between Brocious, Curly Brocious, sorry. Again.
Sorry. Just in the montage, that I love the dude reaching for the pipe, and it's the pistol.
Oh,
the barrel of the pistol.
Yeah. I like that one. I love when Doc hits that dude in the face with the butt of the gun, and you just see the blood come out. I was like, holy shit, man. I wish I had the audio for this.
This whole thing feels like scorched earth. Like, let's
dude.
Fucking, find him.
No.
Oh.
No. Holy shit.
I'll put the audio in.
Listen.
I'll put the audio in.
Oh, I can't wait.
Hey, what? No. What? No. What are you doing? Look at that. Yeah. Come on, get some, boy. No! Let me! No! Son of a bitch! No! Jesus Christ!
Well, and I love the shit leading up to this because it's even Doc going, "Hey, Wyatt, we got to do something, man." You know, it's usually Doc who's got an answer for everything, and him going, "Hey, buddy, we need to do something here, man." Like, I'm getting fucking shot at. Curly Bill gets his guts blown out, and we see a big wipeout of the Cowboys. Afterwards, we've got Texas Jack and Turkey Creek Creek Johnson, I think is his name. Creek Johnson and Texas Jack. I love this dialogue between them. Doc Holliday and Turkey Creek. And I love as he's talking to him. He's like, "Hell, why are you doing this, Doc? You ought to be in bed." He's like, "Wyatt Earp is my friend." Well, hell, I got a lot of friends. I don't. Oh, it's so unbelievably good, man. It's just, God, this such a good fucking script. I do miss seeing Sam Elliott, though. I hate the fact that he's out of it, but he's like one of the few people that survived this whole thing, besides Wyatt and Josephine. You know, he's like one of the only people that survives this whole ordeal. It's pretty incredible. He'll never be able
to tug his dick again, though. Jesus,
he's still got the one hand. He's good. Listen, one Sam Elliott arm is like 3 regular dude arms. He framed a whole house with that arm.
He could somehow get his mustache to pull his dick off. Like, you know,
oh, that would be fucking like like his mustache just like curls off his lip and like takes over appendages, and it's like Stem from Upgrade. But we get the death of Billy Zane, kind of random, but okay, I don't mind it. You know, I like that it's showing the effect in the residents of Tombstone, not just the gunfighters and the Cowboys and the deputies and stuff. It really kind of shows you the effect of what's going on. To the point where even Billy's like, "Hey, fuck this. I don't want to be a part of this anymore. I'm sorry, sir, but we get to have some kind of law." He rides off. We see that Behan's deputized all of the Cowboys, which I think is true to some extent. I do think he deputized a lot of them. I don't think it was this many of them. But that's neither here nor there. We see Doc, his ailments are really starting to finally get the better of him. He's fucking falling apart, man. We're introduced to Charlton Heston, which is this is I think what we were talking about off air, is him playing Henry Hooker, and basically Henry Hooker puts him up for the night, says, "Hey, you can put your horses up, or we got to take care of Doc. I know you boys have to keep moving, but he looks pretty bad." Just kind of lays it out for him. You know, he's in a bad spot, you know, and this is really, really starting to get to the end for Doc Holliday. And in this movie, it's like, you've known he's been sick and we've seen small side effects from it, but it hasn't been enough to stop who Doc is. And now it's almost like watching 11 in Stranger Things use her powers. It's like, okay, she's bleeding from her nose. Like, she's sick. She can't keep doing this. I really enjoy that part of Doc's condition. Is like, now we're getting to a point where, yeah, he might be able to be a badass gunslinger, but it's going to take him a fucking week to recover from this because he's used up so much energy. Josephine shows up. They're just kind of watering, and basically Henry Hooker's ranch, I guess, is a goddamn gas station in 1889, or whenever this might be 81 or 79. I can't remember. But he said he apologized. She says, "I forgave you the moment I said it." And they're just kind of making amends. We haven't seen the end of them yet, but we'll pick back up with their story. I do like this, that he's kind of just like, "Hey, goodbye for now. Let's put a bookmark here. I've got bigger fish to fry right now, but we'll pick this back up." Because this is when we get the body of McMaster's, Michael Rooker, who looks like he's been boiled in some kind of hot oil. I don't know what the fuck they did to him, man, but you can tell when they pull up and they cut his body loose, Kurt Russell's reaction to the smell. He's like, "Oh my God." And it's like McMaster's has been left outside in a hot fridge for like 3 days, like he's turned into a bad thing of beef jerky.
That sucks.
And I
hated
that because I like his character.
Yeah. Like he had a change of heart. He's like, "I'm no longer a cowboy." And yeah, it sucks that he got dragged back into it, literally. Little fucking choice of words.
Yeah, literally dragged back into it.
Fucking choice of words.
This is Ringo's little message boy says, "Hey, meet him for a one-on-one fight, 7:00. We'll settle this for once and for all." And Wyatt says, "Hell yeah, let's lock and load." Knowing, I love it. Even Turkey Creek is like, "Dude, what the fuck are you doing? You're not gonna beat this guy." which I think is pretty interesting. And we get this whole scene between Doc and Wyatt. They're trying to figure out what's going on with Ringo. A lot of this is through Doc because he's lived this mirror lifestyle. You know, he says, hey, he's just got a big hole in him, and no amount of stealing and robbing and you know, winning money will ever fill that hole. Well, he wants revenge for being born. I think that's a really, really cool line. And it's so funny because Ringo and Doc are so similar, but Doc is the one dying, and he still has a more positive outlook than Johnny Ringo. You know, Johnny Ringo is perfectly fine, and he's still got this like fuck the world kind of thing, when Doc is the one who's really dying, and it has this whole, I don't know, like carefree fuck it kind of attitude. I love that juxtaposition between them, that even with Doc having like a terminal death sentence for, I mean, I don't know how old Doc Holliday was when he died, but I know he was 15 whenever he first contracted it. Let's see, he was born in 51 and died in 87, so he would have been 36.
Yep.
He lived for fucking 20 years with TB. Holy
Jesus.
shit. That's kind of crazy. Well, shit, it makes you think how long he would have lived if he'd have cut the shit, you know? Like, if he'd actually, like, really he starts eating tofu and, like, doing, like, Bikram yoga and shit.
What does that mean, taking care of yourself back in those times?
Yeah, back then, it's like not drinking water with an animal in it. But Wyatt asked him, I can't beat him, can I? Doc says, no, you can't. That's just it. He's not sugarcoating shit. And the fucking the shit of it all is that now Wyatt actually knows what he wants. Now Wyatt knows who he wants and how he wants to spend his time. And it's just an unbelievable tragedy, because you've got a guy lying in bed dying who would gladly give up his life. Could he even fucking stand? It's just it's just dripping with irony. I love this, but because we're kind of winding down here. We got about 10 minutes left. Wyatt rides out. We have this, we have this fight with Johnny Ringo. Doc shows up. I love this fight between Doc and Johnny. I know it's short lived.
Yeah,
we don't really need a whole, we don't really need a whole big drawn out fight. We already had the most infamous fight in the West. We had a fight with Curly Bill, with the shotgun. You know, we don't really need a whole lot more. So I like the fact that this is real slow, but I love the fact that somehow Wyatt leaves before Doc is even out of bed, and Doc dresses and beats him there. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, I would have liked if they were like, hey, Wyatt got held up. He was talking to Josephine. He called up to Josephine to say goodbye or something. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's fine with me. But I like this still the same. I like Johnny Ringo and Doc having this moment. I like Doc wearing a very similar outfit to Wyatt when he shows up, the dark jacket and the black hat. I was like, it's cool, man. I like it.
I like that Holiday rattles Ringo, right? I mean, like play for blood, right? I was just fooling about. Like, you know what I mean? Like
I wasn't.
Yeah. He rattles
that's when
him.
You know you fucked up.
He rattles him, dude. Also, just something that observation that I can't believe we haven't really brought up yet. I really like seeing Michael Biehn in an antagonist role.
Yeah.
I mean, Terminator, Aliens, and The Rock, even, like he's always playing a good guy, protagonist. I think he plays a good bad guy, man.
Yeah, I think for what he's given, he's doing, I don't exactly love the character of Johnny Ringo because he's not 100% fleshed out.
Yeah.
But I think that he's fleshed out through Doc.
I think
we know who
elevates
Johnny is.
This role. Like, I think Bihn's
awesome. I think so too. Yeah, I 100% do. And I like the idea of, him riling up Michael Biehn. And when he shows up and he goes, I was just goofing. He's like, I wasn't. You can feel Michael Biehn in the back of his head just going, oh God, I bit off a lot more than I can. Dude,
just alarm
he
bells
is
like ringing.
Shitting the fucking bed. He is like Cabin in the Woods. You know, he's Richard Jenkins and the bad guy from Billy Madison and Cabin in the Woods. Just fucking, shooting giant spiders with an MP5. You know, it's like, oh my god,
from Billy Madison.
I couldn't remember his fucking name.
Bradley Whitford.
The bad guy. There you go. Yeah, the bad dad from Get Out.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, this is
that's the demise of Johnny Ringo, though.
This is
that's
awesome, man. Just the one headshot and him stumbling
you don't know
around.
Daisy. Oh. You don't know Daisy at all.
Yeah,
oh, dude, it's so sick. It's demented because he literally walks him to like the gates of death.
He does like
he walks with him until he.
Yeah.
I love it, but it's also like, man, you've been running your goddamn mouth this whole time. Like, I'll walk you straight to fucking the gates of hell. Like, I really enjoy that. We see Wyatt and the Doc and everybody kind of getting on with the last of the Cowboys. Ike Clanton throws his sash. I don't know what really happens to Sheriff Behan, because we see him riding with Ike as Ike throws his red sash. I'm like, did they kill Behan? I was like, what the hell happened there? Ike Clanton is like Boris from GoldenEye. Somehow he has survived all these fucking different things. And then right at the end of the movie, they're like, yeah, he got shot trying to steal cattle a couple of years later. And it's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But the shot of Turkey Creek and Jack and Texas Jack and Doc and Wyatt is so fucking good. Like all of them riding together. And I'm like, dude, that makes me think I'm riding through fucking tumbleweed, picking some burdock root, about to get back on my horse to go to camp and Red Dead Redemption 2. It's
shit.
Like,
you're in too deep, dude. You're picking up some burdock root. What the fuck?
Dude, I'm going to give you one guess how many hours I've put into that game.
100.
It's high. Just guess. Triple it.
What?
I've put 13 days
that is
worth of time into
insanity.
Red Dead 2.
I think it's one of the greatest games of all time, but I mean, like, that is okay. Well, look, that's not so bad because I think my combat record for Call of Duty Warzone is like 8 days, so I think that's fine.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I've been trying to do all the challenges and stuff. If you like this movie and you have not played Red Dead 2, what are you doing, man?
Yeah,
you've got to play it. If you enjoy these kind of movies,
yeah.
Dude, you gotta
upgrade to a next gen console. I know it's available on the last gen consoles as well, but
yeah,
like upgrade to
it's more fun on a new one.
Yeah, it'll load quicker and all those things. It'll look beautiful. But like, just know that it's not your traditional Rockstar game. Like, it's a little bit more patient than that and a little bit more reflective than that.
Definitely.
Because I think a lot of people were not turned off, but like there was definitely some sort of like criticism from like people who loved that first one. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, there was a lot of people who loved that first one, and they were like, "Oh, yeah, the second one is very slow," but it's very deliberate. I wouldn't call it boring at all. Like it's absolutely gorgeous, and it's paced incredibly well. It's definitely not boring though.
No, not at all. I think if you're just playing for the story, you can just blast through it. But if you want to do all the side shit, you can, and I highly suggest it. But unfortunately, we've come to the end for Doc Holliday. We're here on his deathbed. We see Wyatt coming to visit him. Damn you! You're the most fallible, stubborn, self-deluded. He's calling him every S word in the book. And Doc is again Wyatt is not accepting, just like Kate was, not accepting the death of Doc. He's this immortal, invincible figure, and now he's on death's door. He's on his deathbed, and he just basically tells Wyatt, "Hey, get the hell out of here, man." And he's like, "I was in love once. I love my first cousin. She joined a convent. She's all I ever wanted. Don't make the same mistakes I did. Go live your life. Live life for me. Live it to the hilt." This was definitely the moment where I was like, man, it's getting really hard to swallow. It's getting real hard to like, oh man, this is getting really
Doc
tough.
Holliday, but Wyatt Earp.
Oh, that is really, really rough, man. And this to me felt like Logan burying Xavier. That like just that relationship that like we feel this relationship that has been going on for years. And the fact that Doc has Doc is asking Wyatt to do the thing that he's been doing since he's known he had TB. It's like, just live. That's all I've done. There's no such thing as a normal life, Wyatt. It's just life. I love that. That is words to fucking live by. You know, life is just life. It's not normal or uncommon or anything. It's just life. Go grab that spirited actress years, live every second, live right up to the hilt, live, Wyatt, live for me. If you ever had any ounce of care for me, if your heart ever felt any emotion, get out of here and don't ever come back. I
love it.
Wyatt leaves. Thanks for always being there, Doc. That's the end of it. He dies very quietly in this bed. I love the way he dies. No grandeur, no big thing.
Ceremony.
Apparently he did die. Apparently he did die saying, well, that's kind of funny. And people were like, what? People wonder what he was talking about. Apparently he just thought he would always die with his boots on. Apparently, who the fuck knows? When you're dying, who the fuck knows what's going through your head?
Because he moves his feet. I thought maybe he was like feeling like he was losing like feeling in his toes. Maybe, I don't know.
I don't, because there's so much shit about the dead not wearing shoes and stuff. There's weird little things. I don't know what the hell's going on, but that's the leading theory, is that he was apparently always thought he was going to die with his shoes on. But that's not the case. We see the death of Doc Holliday and the birth of the final romance between Josephine and Wyatt. And I love Wyatt's little speech right here. I have nothing to give you, no pride, no money. Basically, I'm done for. I'm chewed up and spit out. But whatever I've got, I'll give it to you for the rest of your life. And she goes, don't worry, I'm Jewish and we're rich.
Yeah, it's just literally like, my family's rich. And like Wyatt's like, well, I fucking won in a big bad way, baby.
Mm-hmm. And apparently she was fiercely protective about the way Wyatt Earp was portrayed because I think she lived for a ways after him, because he died. Wyatt Earp, dude, guess what year Wyatt Earp died?
Oh, I don't know.
If you had to guess, all this is taking place in like 1881. You had to guess when he dies. Don't fucking look it up.
I'm not. I'm going to say 1920s.
Yeah, 1929.
No way. That's wild,
dude,
man.
Yes.
The guy lived.
Like, Wyatt Earp lived to see many years after the end of World War I. Like, holy shit.
Crazy.
That's kind of crazy. I think Josephine, she died the same year. She died in 1929, I'm pretty sure. But she was very, very protective about the way that he was portrayed. And apparently Wyatt Earp wanted nothing but he wanted everything for this to go away. Wyatt Earp was like, I don't want to be remembered for this. I just want to be forgotten about. He apparently, sometimes his story changed from time to time. He would downplay stuff. He would upplay other stuff. And it's just like, man, it just sucks, because it's like we'd eat like one person who's been alive for the entirety of time. Be like, what happened then? Just like, oh, it's just some guy named Dave. And he's like, yeah, I was there. They started shooting, and it's just like a very modern, like, it's like Justin Long from the Apple commercials. That's basically Tombstone. They run off. They fall in love. Maddie died of a drug overdose. Virgil and Allie Earp moved to California, where Virgil actually became a sheriff, and even with one arm. Wyatt and Josephine embarked on a series of adventures, up or down, thin or flush. In 47 years, they never left each other's side. Wyatt Earp died in Los Angeles in 1929. Among the pallbearers at his funeral were early Western movie stars William S. Hart and Tom Mix. Tom Mix wept.
Yeah,
that's fucking Tombstone.
There's something I love something about that last sentiment.
Yeah,
it's really
like John Wayne shit his pants.
Yeah,
like.
Oh, that's good. That's great.
That's fantastic, and that's Tombstone, man.
It's Tombstone, baby.
You know what? I'm going to skip my final thoughts. I love this movie. I've talked enough. I really, really enjoy it. We can do your final thoughts, or we can go ahead and do it in the comments. What do you want to do?
Yeah, I'll just say I like this movie quite a bit. It's not my favorite movie of all time. That's just down to personal taste. Like the actual subject matter doesn't really appeal to me, like the true historical stuff. Like, it doesn't really, I have no reference for it whatsoever. But I mean, like, I think the performances are really strong. I think it's really well directed. Like, the shots are beautiful. The music is bombastic. It feels like a big fantastical Western. Bill Paxton is incredible in this movie. Kurt Russell is awesome. Sam Elliott is awesome. Val Kilmer is, he's fucking MVP. Bowers Booth is legit in this movie. What more can you say about this movie that we haven't said in the last two and a half hours, man? I think it's absolutely incredible. And I think, if this is our first Western, happy that it was this one.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. I can't second that enough. I'll jump in because we have a couple of comments. One of the first ones I want to take is actually from Dean Martin from the Lost Drive-In over at LSG Media. If you guys haven't checked them out, please do. It's going to be libertystreetgeek.net. They have a lot of different podcasts, have a lot of different things that they cover. Zoheb and I have been card-carrying members for a long time. It's actually where we met. We love those guys. Have been extremely supportive, and vice versa. We love supporting those guys as well.
That's where we had our little
meet
meet cute. Like, I was carrying like a stack of books, and we smashed into each other.
I was chopping wood.
Yeah, Colin took off his glasses as we knelt down to pick up my books, and our eyes locked up, and there it was.
Zoheb came up too quick and knocked the teeth out of my head.
Yeah.
And it was love at first sight.
Yeah.
But Dean over at LSG, he says, amazing picture, even the romance. And I think that's great. I don't absolutely love like a lot of the romance stuff that they do. I think they do what they can with it in such a short amount of time. But I think a lot of that is owed to Dana Delaney. I think she does a really good job, and she is charming. She is so charming that it's just like, yeah, fucking dump your drug addict bitch and get with this woman. She's like cool, She's got
like a glitter in her eyes, like a glint. Like, there's something really bright about her.
There's something dangerously fun about her. It's like you can get into a lot of trouble with this woman. That's what it feels like. The other comment. yeah, exactly. She's like Kate, but she's like all proper and stuff. And the other comment we have is from Jose Rivera. Do you want to read Jose's, or you want me to read it off?
I'm happy to take it. Thank you so much, Jose, for commenting, man. We love you. We love you as always, dude. You are such an MVP, man. Such an MVP. All right, here we go. He says, hell yes, in response to us covering Tombstone. Tombstone is not only a fun Western, but a fun overall film. I love the reveal of Doc when he steps out of the shadows and says, I'm your Huckleberry. Seeing Johnny Ringo's face drop in that moment was amazing. It sucks Ike didn't die on He's shitting and vomiting as this guy.
Yeah. He's like, I just hate something bad.
Oh shit. It sucks. Oh, sorry. Continuing Jose's comment. He says, it sucks Ike didn't die on screen. For the liberties they took with the story, we couldn't see this piece of shit get his comeuppance. And 2 words.
That's a good point.
Dana Delaney. She's my favorite Lois Lane from the animated series.
Oh,
interesting.
That's cool.
But this movie reminded me she's a fantastic actress as well. A triple feature of this, Silverado, and The Quick and the Dead would make for a fun Sunday at home. I've never seen Silverado or The Quick and the Dead. That's awesome.
Me either. I have not. I'll have to put those on the list now because I've been in a Western kick lately because of Red Dead. So yeah, Quick and the Dead, Silverado. Well,
thanks so much, Jose. I appreciate it,
guys. Yeah, thank you guys so much. Thank you guys for commenting. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for hanging out until the end of the show. If you can, stop by and rate review us on iTunes. It helps out the show so much. Give us those 5 stars. It takes 5 minutes, and it helps out the show immensely. If you aren't a member already of our Patreon, it's going to be patreon.com/Midnight Double Feature. For $5 a month, you can join the green room. You get all these bonus extra episodes. What the fuck are you laughing at? Spit it out already. I look over and he's just giggling to himself. What are you giggling about?
Just laughing at the idea of fucking Johnny Rink. Johnny Rink. At the sight of Val Kilmer stepping out of the shadows, just immediately just descends into chaos, dude.
A look from Doc Holliday will give you TB, and it just fucking shot up Johnny Ringo's spine. Anyways, if you guys want to check us out, our Patreon is patreon.com/Midnight Double Feature. For $5 a month, you can be a member of the Green Room, get access to dozens of bonus episodes we have cataloged so far. We're about to record The Evil Dead, the 2013 remake, and talk about that for a little while. So if you want access to that kind of content, you can find it again, patreon.com/Midnight Double Feature. It's called The Green Room. You get 2 extra episodes a month for $5. You get also some cool merch at midnightdoublefeature.com. You can find written reviews and find out a little bit more about us. Again, that's midnightdoublefeature.com. Zoe, have you got anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
Nope. Let's get out of here. Thank you so much for listening, guys. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for hanging tough and for hanging in there until the very end. And we'll see y'all later.